during the day. A couple other people get a call from me just to make sure that we're going to be on track with where we're meeting, when we're meeting, all that great stuff. Um, so yeah, so we look forward to being able to do that and talk to everybody. Let's see. Whew. Let me see. So we got YouTube on. Welcome to everybody on there. I know we're running behind. Like I said, I had a hard time walking around today. I was walking around like I was 175. I say 175 because I've been asking Yah to allow your boy to live to see 150. So I was walking around past what I thought I should, but we're thankful and grateful to everybody for being on. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer, and it's in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect this message. Amen. And the theme we're going to use today to get through some of these frequently asked questions are: people want to be you, right? People want to be you, but they want to control you. People want to be you, right? And people want to control you. And that's really what we're going through a lot, is we're having issues with a lot of things. When people ask me a lot of questions and things, I'm realizing it comes from that very mindset. We want to be somebody and control them at the same time. We want to be like Yahshua, but we want to control the narrative of Yahshua. We want to be husbands and wives, but we want to control husbands and wives. We want to be able to hear certain things from people, but we also want to control everything that comes out of those people's mouths. And I was going to use the term. I use it from every once in a while. My wife and I were watching something, and we were talking about some things that's rising. And I was going to use the word fetishize, which is what a lot of people are doing as well. They want to fetishize. People want to be you, right? Really fetishizing somebody is they want to be you, but they want to control you. And once again, before we get too much deeper, we give all honor and praise to Yahweh Elohim. We give all praise and honor to him for my wife, the Honorable Mind, who lives a life to be able. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. And we're excited and thankful and grateful for everything she does. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And we're thankful for everything she does. To Marshawn, Malcolm, Betty, Isabel, and Solomon, Daddy loves you very much. To everybody who's on, and thank you for your patience once again. This got some back pain going, and I'm pushing through. But man, this is special right here. But we're thankful. I'm just getting. We got everybody but Facebook on, so we can get Facebook on, and then we can go ahead and jump right in. So thank you for your patience. But yeah, people want to be you, but they want to control you simultaneously. And that's really what a lot of the questions that I've been getting. Why don't people listen? Why won't my husband listen? Why can't I speak somebody's love language, etc. Right? It really boils down to people want to be you, right? While simultaneously they want to control you. And we got an issue, right? Like, have you ever thought about that there are people who are attracted to people that are married and will mess up somebody else's marriage, but then once the marriage is over, they don't want anything else to do with the person anymore. And it's because people want to be you, right? But they don't want to, but simultaneously they want to control you. Right? So people will break up someone's marriage. People will have somebody not spending time with their spouse. People will have somebody dealing with multiple things and all that. And because they want to be you and control you at the same time, there are people who fetishize about being with the social construct, somebody else's race, and they'll try to, quote, steal, unquote, or, quote, control or have somebody submit to them, unquote, because they want to be with that person per se, but they also want to control somebody. And so you have a lot of people that are having a lot of questions that have nothing to do with our culture, because we don't feel the need in our culture, in our society, that we're building, in our land that we're going to develop, etc. We don't feel the need to have to be anybody else but ourselves, right? And that's really one of the biggest issues you have is, once again, people want to be you, but they also want to control you. And that's where you get misogyny from. That's where you get misandry from. That's where you get feminism from. That's where you get um, a Me Too movement that should do well, but actually, allows somebody who hasn't actually gone through what people who need the Me Too movement for have gone through. That's what causes people to try and get into the word of Yah, and at the same time, simultaneously, try to tell you what Yah it means. So that's what we're going to talk about today. People want to be you, but they also want to control you, and it puts us in a very odd situation. Before we get too much deeper into this, though, welcome to everybody. We thank you on all the platforms, whether you're on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, or the podcast. We're thankful and grateful. How you doing, Big Brother Thomas? How you doing, Tree by Living Water, Sister Deja, Sister Barbara, Sister Sharice, Anthony? Hopefully everything's going better. Sister Sharice is better as best as it can. How you doing, with Anthony? Sister Kimberly, Big Wayne again. Thanks, Minister Tamara. Thank you, Nakia, and shalom to you. WILL. Thanks for being part of the community. Minister Select. I'm trying to say Omar, but that's not right. Joseph. Sorry. Um, Amen, Sister Barbara. Yep, we're looking forward, and shalom to you. How you doing, Sister Helen, Sister Dawn, Minister Nice, TC Brown? Okay, you're gonna be there. Awesome. Did we get you? You need the information. So if you can, please, if you can reach out to us. If you can reach out to us. Also, make sure that you guys are staying in contact with us because of the travel and stuff like that, especially when we get to Detroit. The 30th is pretty much, we know the time and everything that we'll be able to do. The night of might be iffy just because of travel from Chicago over to Detroit. So we don't have like a guaranteed spot, but yeah, see if you can reach out to us if you want to do it through direct message. Matter of fact, I'll try to make that to where on my end you can go ahead and do that. But if you want to try and do that via direct message, if you want to also just go on TikTok. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, or the podcast, all you gotta do is look at the descriptions that are with the videos of the episodes. If you're on how you doing, Shalom, Sister Beverly? If you're on TikTok, all you gotta do is go to our TikTok page where it says website. Right. If you don't want to do the DM route, just go to where it says website and click on the link tree. And there's tons of information that you'll be able to find from there where you can get in contact with us and just, email us, text us even, let us know. And we'll try to make sure that we get it. We still got time, right? Because we're not going to be there till Sunday night at the earliest as far as Detroit. But just, reach out to us, let us know. How you doing? Waving. Yeah, we should repent as much as we can, as often as we can. Melodic Dreams, thanks for being part of the community. Yes, sir, Big Wayne, we got you. Waving. Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks again. Is it Dr. Alicia? How you doing? Life 1981. Minister Nice, thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, not a fun moment. Yeah. So we gonna get it in. You can see I'm trying to ramp it up. Thank you, Sister Beverly. Thank you, Coleman. Thank you, Felisa. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. So, but we're gonna get into this today. And hey, 1-1, how you doing? So we're gonna get into this, and we're gonna talk about this some more. People want to be you, but they also want to control you. And if we be honest, a lot of us deal with that ourselves. If we take this word personally, which we should. And I don't mean personally as far as I'm trying to fry you up, right? Or, I'm trying to Joan on you, I'm trying to hit you with the dozens, but I'm saying take it personally as far as there might be some of this that goes on in your personal life. And I'm sorry, Brother Clem, Brother Cole, as well on the podcast. Thanks for being on. But, people want to be you. And a lot of times we want to be others. And we also want to simultaneously control others. We talked about this before. It's usually if somebody gets angry or upset or frustrated, why does somebody get angry, frustrated, or upset? Because if I was in your situation, I would have done something different. But yeah, of course you probably would have, but you're not me. How you doing, Sister Shante? Right? So people do that, hey, if I was in your situation, I would have. That's how we answer. If it was me, I would have, but you're not me. Right? How many of us actually start off conversations where, or how many of us actually pray or think about it when we ask somebody? Like a lot of people look ask me, once again, why is it that I'm always by myself? Why does nobody comprehend me? This and that. Sometimes the answer is because you're yourself, and not everybody will be able to recognize you. How you doing, Cash? How you doing, Dawn? How you doing, Miss Mack? If I didn't say so already, I can't remember. But we'll have this weird situation. How you doing, Hattie? Greetings. Greetings. Hopefully you're doing all right. But you're right. So we'll have these situations where we'll. Oh, you said if you come in and immediately share and comment, you get those 18 points immediately for the podcast. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I didn't know that. So we have this situation where people, will say, people aren't talking to me. People don't listen. People this, people don't that. I know who I am. I know I'm tired of dealing with everybody else because everybody else doesn't get me. Everybody else this and that. And a lot of times when I'm listening, I go, oh, okay, I don't think this person hears that they haven't once said anything empathetic yet. Even the greatest of empaths that I speak to, it seems like we sometimes miss empathy, the ability to be able to say, I wonder how they're processing. I wonder how this moment feels to them. One of the things I try to be careful about, for example, if somebody tells me about death in the family, or somebody says somebody's in the hospital or whatever, somebody says they're sick, I try to listen before I go and mess up and do something that I can't stand when it's my family member that's passed, which is, yeah, we've all been there. I know how you feel. No, you don't. Right? You don't need to be me in that situation, right? And you don't need to try and control the situation. Like sometimes the answer, it's okay for it to be like, I don't know what you're going through. Or would you like to school me on what you're going through? Or is it possible that I can help you? Or what is it that you would like from me? How can I help you? Because being honest, right? How you doing, brother TJ? Right? As a as a pro as a man, as a male, as a husband, I'm created to work, be in my work. Adam, before Eve existed, was already in his work. Yeah, or just be there sometimes with no words, right? That's what Job's friends actually did at first. They were righteous at first. When they started speaking, that's when they messed up with Job, right? But it's I don't think we get that and comprehend that sometimes. Like one of the worst things that we can do is jump in and start telling. And as a man, that's what I'm designed problem solving. That's why sometimes it's hard for us as men to hear our sisters, because of our design. We have to actually recognize that if we're not careful, we can come across flawed. We don't have a design flaw because we're there to help. We're there to be a foundation. We're there to say, hey, put it on my shoulders. Sometimes, however, though, um, my wife is speaking and she wants me to just hear. And so I automatically go into problem solving. Sometimes even it's taken as, oh, you're gaslighting this and that or whatever. And it can be, because it can turn into that. But a lot of times she might just be saying, I need you to hear. And even if you listen long enough, it might not even be you. Right. But she's externally, right. Like for men, we're going to internally deal with something. And once it internally builds up to a point to where we feel like we need to talk about it, it becomes external. For her, she doesn't even want it to sit internally until she externally gets it there. Why? Because her number one need is security. I need to feel secure. So I'm going to, before I put something in that would make me feel insecure, right? The last thing you want is your wife to not have anybody to talk to where she keeps putting insecurity in her. So before she makes it feel, before she feels insecure, she says, okay, cool. I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to put it out there, and maybe just talking about it, even if you don't have an answer for it, it'll make me feel secure that somebody else at least is aware of what I'm going through. Now I can start dealing with it inside. For men, we're opposite, right? So, if you're a wife and you're talking to the husband, you'll be like, well, if you really felt a certain way, why didn't you tell me? And this and that. And there's some truth to that. However, he's not even really going to be able to tell you anything that's not jumbled up if he doesn't make sure that he doesn't feel. So a man's number one needs to be feel heard and respected. And so a man, and thank you for that, love, Sister Cynthia, and thank you to everybody who's coming on. A man, a husband, an adult male, a properly trained male, right, in our culture, he is not going to bring something to you that he hasn't first been able to get within himself. That's why you might hear him be like, hey, allow me to give me a break. Hold up a second. It's not time to talk about it. This and that. Why? He's giving you warnings. He's saying, I haven't really processed this yet. And I'm not sure if I'm even correct. I'm not sure if I'm right. I'm not sure if I'm loving. How you doing, Oakland? Oaktown, what's up? He's saying, I don't know how I feel yet. And since I'm not aware of my feelings, since I'm not aware of how I process, since I'm not aware, I might be completely wrong. I might just be jealous right now. I might be the reason why I'm jealous, because if I had done this, I could have been like, there's a lot of stuff like I could be going through. I might just feel sick today. I might not like myself today, so I'm not even in a position to love myself, let alone love you correctly. Whatever the case might be, like he's telling you, hey, I need to, because out of respect, I would never bring to you something incomplete. So he's going to think internally, get it together inside, and then say, okay, cool. I'm all right with this now. Let me go ahead and show you what I'm going through. Let me go ahead and show you what I mean. Let me go ahead and tell you how I'm rolling with this, right? This is how he's thinking as a man. He's going internally first. I got it inside. How you doing, Sister Mary? Hopefully you're feeling well. Right? He's gonna say, I'm dealing with this internally now. I got it. Okay, cool. Let me give it to you. Right? But the wife will say, right? So because a man, number one need is respect, he's gonna try and respect you even when he presents it to you. Right? If a man's being disrespectful when he brings something to you, either A, he's just not really mature yet, or B, he hasn't really formed what he's trying to say yet. Right? It's really one of two things. With a woman, she's gonna say, hey, I need to feel secure. So before I put this inside me, I've got to make sure that I put this out and I feel secure. And that even if you don't have an answer, at least you've heard how I feel, so that two of us are going through this together. I feel more secure now. Let me put this inside and let me try and see if I can figure this out. And then I'll probably talk it more and more through with you, right? And then as I talk it through more, I might even realize that, while talking to you, I just need you to listen. I'm just bouncing it off somebody. How you doing, Mr. Sony? Right? Same thing to you. And thanks for being on. And I keep messing up. Got to get in contact. But yeah, so these are the things that are going on, right? And we have to represent. Like, so once again, we have this problem. We want to be other people. I want to tell you this is how you operate, but I won't take time out to see how you operate. And then we also not only don't want to be people, we want to control people. So since I want to be you, right? If I want to become you, then I got to control who you are. Because the reality is there's cognitive dissonance. I cannot become you, which means I cannot control you. I don't know how many people would find this interesting in how we deal with people. And I'm sorry, I missed a couple things of the podcast. Codes and facts. We are, and you are an individual and have different experiences and expectations. Be honest and forthright and love yourself so you can love your neighbor as yourself. Amen. You need a definition of gaslighting. You hear it all the time. So gaslighting basically just means our working definition of gaslighting, to make it simple, is that somebody's going to try to make you feel guilty for what they've done, or somebody tries to make you feel. I mean, basically, that's kind of how we live, or and how you doing, Shaman? But that's basically how we're dealing with stuff. Is gaslighting is something that makes you feel guilty for what somebody else has done. Usually it can vary a little bit, but usually if somebody says you're gaslighting, what they're saying is, yo, like, I'm presenting something to you, I'm telling you what's going on, you're trying to make me feel guilty, and you're trying to take it somewhere else. It's almost like if you want to combine like a straw man with like ad hominem, kind of, sort of. But gaslighting is saying you're making an effort to basically make somebody feel bad about something that you actually have done. Um, yeah, 90s terms. Yeah, you could say they fronting, right? It's kind of the same thing, Gaslighting lets someone believe in reality that isn't true or self-improvement or influencing it. Yeah, we can say that as well, but like gaslighting, you can make somebody believe in a reality, but like usually gaslighting is like I'm gassing it, if you will, like I'm shedding light on something, if you will, like I'm raising a gaslight, like a gaslight, to use is going to be more dangerous than a regular lantern or something like that, and I'm doing something dangerous. And usually gaslighting is referring to, hey, I'm giving you something, I'm presenting you with facts, I'm telling you something, and rather than actually deal with me, you're kind of saying, I'm gonna go somewhere else, right? So like, it's kind of like I said, ad hominem. Ad hominem really means like it's to the man. So ad hominem is just more so like I'm gonna attack you, but like gaslighting is kind of like, I don't know, gaslighting. Your wife comes to you, hey, can you make sure you take out the trash or whatever, right? Man, you always saying I don't take out the trash. Why you always got to be coming at me and stuff like that? Why are you always coming at me? This is not about coming at you. This is not something I always did. I didn't say you never take out the trash. I just simply said, can you take out the trash? Right? That's gaslighting. And then when she responds, see, there it is again. You're doing blah. See, that's gaslighting. We're taking it and we're moving it to places, and we're trying to really kind of take away from what it is. You said that's narcissism, or people who gaslight can be narcissistic. But like I said, I know to each their own, right? Like if you want me to look up a definition, if we feel like we have to have a definition that matches what somebody else says, no problem. We can look at a common definition of gaslighting, right? So if you want to, that's a type of lamp. Right. So first of all, a gas light in and of itself is a type of lamp in which an incandescent mantle is heated by a jet of burning gas. Right. So we're bringing light on something, but in a dangerous manner, really. Right. But if you want to take it to gaslighting someone or gaslighting a person, we can look that up as well. So now that we know what that is, right, what a gaslight is, gaslighting is when someone leads you to question your own reality, right? So this is a dangerous manipulation, right, happens, right? So in a sense, right, so yeah, somebody gets you to question your own reality. So if your reality is I want the trash taken out, but well, I don't know, I'll leave it there. If we wanted to be that, that's fine. I think everybody gets the position across the board. So if you're saying that, but once again, so using the working definition, if somebody says, hey man, be a victim, not a victor, right? But I was talking about, well, why are you beating me? No. You good. You're good. You're good. Oh, you know you're good, right? And I apologize. I'm very micro, so and also I got a little back pain, so forgive me. I might, like I was saying earlier, my back is messed up, so I hope it doesn't come off as attitude. I'm playing hurt today. Right. I'm playing my Marcus Smart. I'm having my Marcus Smart moment right now. Um, but like, to gaslight or whatever, it's something where, you know like, let's say somebody says, I don't know, oh yeah, be a victim, not a victor. That's what I was talking about. Be a victim, not a victor. But I'm talking about the fact that you slapped, like, you've been slapping our brothers and sisters across the face, right? Appreciate that, right? You've been slapping my brothers and sisters across the face. Man, why are you a victim? Be a victor. Well, I mean, I could just slap the mess out of you and beat you up right here, sure. But that doesn't mean that the reality isn't that you slapping my brothers and sisters in the face. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, stop cussing me out. Man, be a victim, not a victor. I mean, what does that mean? Are you saying that I should just not listen to you, or I should tell the teacher, or I should cuss you out? Like, I'm trying to deal with you, man to man. Why is it being a victim, not a victor, right? Like, that's kind of a gaslight. Right. I'm not saying that you can't, I understand sometimes what people mean with victim mentality, but, victors aren't good people anyways. Look up what a victor is historically. Look what a victory is. Look what a parade is. Right. So I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, it's warping somebody's reality. But oftentimes, if you look at it, they're attacking, they start, finding a way to attack you rather than deal with the actual thing. Right. So you're definitely manipulating, right? And sometimes manipulation doesn't have to be on purpose either. Like we feel like manipulation has to be guaranteed somebody meant it. But manipulation sometimes happens because you're simply trying to get out of it. Like everybody that lies, you can lie without knowing you're lying. Because if you tell something that's not true, then you're telling a lie. Somebody will say, "Oh, well, he's not lying." No, you're telling a lie, so you're lying. You just might be ignorantly lying, right? Like we can gaslight in ignorance. How you doing, Key Troy? If I didn't say so already, um, yeah. But we have a lot of people. Once again, we have a lot of issues that come up in this frequently asked questions series today. I want to deal with this because it answers a bunch of questions. Why is it that people want to be you, and at the same time, they want to control you, right? You got a lot of people out there, a lot of men who say that they are women, right? And they say that all men are women. I'm sorry, they say all women are women, and they mean that men are women. But then when a woman says, "Well, I really like being a woman, and there's certain things I go through that you don't have to go through, and I would like to be able to feel protected." That's her number one need, right? As a woman, help me to feel protected. Somebody comes to her and says, "Man, you're a bad person. Wow, you're terrible. This, man, you're anti-LGBTQ plus," and it's like, no, that's gaslighting, right? But the person who says all women are women, he's saying that I want to be you. I also want to control you. Like that's what's going on there. I get to deal in the I get to deal in being the man, and at the same time get to be the woman. You can't do that, right? And that's why I called it. I'm gonna use this term sparingly today, or somewhat sparingly. We're on for hours, but that's why it's dangerous to fetishize. That's really we fetishize each other. People fetishize cannons. I want to worship the Most High, but I don't want to actually do what the Most High says. So I'm going to tell you that I want to worship. I want to be the Most High. In essence, I'm going to tell you this is what the Most High says, and I'm going to control the Most High. I'm going to tell you that if he doesn't agree with me, then it's New Testament or Old Testament Nicolaitan doctrine. I'm going to tell you it doesn't matter as much. I'm going to tell you that if you don't use my methodology and become a Methodist, you're wrong. I'm going to tell you if you don't baptize the way I say that you're not a Baptist and you're wrong. I want to tell you that if you're not somebody who follows what Martin Luther did and you're not a Lutheran, you're wrong. All right. I'm going to be God, and at the same time, I'm going to control God, but you are not God, even though God's not even real. It's really Elohim, which shows that you are having Dunning-Kruger effect. And therefore, anytime you come at me, you have to use straw men because now you've tried to establish that this is the only way. Right? You said those are deeper definitions. You digress. Your assumptions were wrong. Oh, perpetuating fraud. Oh, no. I get what you said as far as fronting. I know what you were saying. I was talking to. I'm on different platforms, so I'm trying to talk to everybody at the same time. Um, yeah, the Bible tells us to watch out for that. But as a matter of fact, Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. If you want, or Matthew chapter 24, read out of the way verses 1 through 14. If you want to know what's supposed to happen at the end of the world, Yahshua himself speaks it. Thank you. Oh, same to you, bro. Keep on pushing. I don't know what everything's going on, but hopefully everything's all right with you and the wife, or wherever you are in life. Continue on your journey. Congratulations. Continue to do what you're doing as far as staying away from the bottle, from alcohol. Keep on pressing. Much love to you. All right. And how you doing, Henry? So these are the things that like we're not aware of. Is we are very controlling. We've been taught to be controlled. We've been taught that it's all about you, right? Even though it's not, but we've been taught it's all about you. And so we have to have false humility, you know. We have this thing that causes false humility. You're not really humble. Amen. Right? You're not really humble, but at the same time, you got to put on airs. You're not really trying, how many brothers think that a wife's supposed to submit to them when the Bible never says, right? Submit to the man, but submit to the mission. It's submission, right? People go submit to men. Women should submit to men. You are off, right? Why do you want to be women so bad? I don't want to be a woman. I want a woman to do blah blah. But you want to be a woman because you keep telling her every single thing that she's supposed to do. You trying to tell her what she's supposed to wear. You trying to tell her hair has to look like this. You trying to tell her she can't wear pants. You trying to tell her that she shouldn't wear makeup, but then when she goes out without the makeup, you say, why don't she have the makeup? Like, you want to be her and control her so bad. Why? Why is that even a thing? Why have you made it, once again, that word that rhymes with reddish, right? Why have you done that to her? Why has she become there? You said I'm twisting the message. Okay, well, I didn't know that was your message, but if that's your particular message, you feel like I'm coming at you, then what am I twisting the message? Because I guess you probably heard me for the first time, I'm assuming, today. So what is the message that you think that I stand for, that you heard me say that in the sentence? Because I just started talking about that. Did you come on earlier when I was telling you that women need to learn how to respect men and empathize and realize that a man thinks about things inwardly before he expresses it outwardly? Were you somebody who was there earlier to hear that, hey, women sometimes are going to express things outwardly because before they put it inwardly, they need to feel secure? You said business structure came from the family structure, can't be CEO and CEO or whatever. It depends on your culture. If you want to go by a culture that says that same culture says that a person is a corporation, then you go by that, right? That's why you're talking about a Black's Law Dictionary and stuff, if you even know what I'm talking about, as far as legal things that have come from a certain culture that's permeated and taking care of others. But yeah, no, men shouldn't be, matter of fact, I'm not even talking about men and women in relationship. I'm talking about husbands and wives, right? We're talking about a different culture. Now, if you want to talk about a husband and a wife, you're supposed to be pre-qualified. Where I come from, you got to be pre-qualified before you even get married. Sex is marriage and marriage is sex, where I come from. And you got to be pre-qualified for marriage and for marriage, for sex. And so before you get in there, you should already know what a husband is. You should already know what a wife is, whether you're male or female, right? And your family and friends and even your community will be the people to say you are a husband, you are a wife, and to make sure that the community works together. And of course, see, my wife and I, on our best days, will never be able to be each other. And when we learned that, we became really great, right? So, yeah, but what you're talking about, and you're talking about twisting the message, I don't think you comprehend my message enough yet. You might want to, just hear me out a little bit. And then and then you can hold me accountable for what I speak rather than a couple of words you just might not have liked. But yeah, when you're talking about, yeah, husband and a wife, my wife could never be a husband. My husband can never be a wife. I don't agree in the whole, for example, single mothers get to be celebrated on Father's Day because you're not a father, right? But so I'm with you on that, right? And I don't think that single fathers should be celebrated on Mother's Day. I don't, because you're not a mother. And the second that you realize that is the second that you give glory to the Most High, even for how He created things. You give glory to the woman for who she is. You have the glory for the husband for who he is. You have your ankh principle. All those different things. You can begin to talk about those things. So most definitely, we agree on that. But I don't. I think you're taking a little piece of something that you don't like, that I was saying something. But yeah, you got to hold both accountable. And both of us have to look. Now, if you're past what I'm saying and that isn't something that you do, then you shouldn't necessarily assume that I'm saying this. But what I'm saying is, you can't be sitting up there. Like, so for example, fathers lay down instruction, but mothers lay down the law. What's the difference between the two? What's the difference between instruction and law? Fathers give instruction. Hey man, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna set the environment. This is what I like to be able to have happen with the money, blah, blah, blah. But mom, well, father's doing those things. Guess what mom's supposed to do? She's supposed to make sure that the law is laid down, right? So the law protects rights. So if she puts certain things in place, then you need to follow those things. Like any good CEO, if we're gonna keep it 100, any good CEO, if he has a secretary, will not try to do the secretary's job. And the secretary gets to tell him sometimes as the CEO what to do. Any good CEO, like you're talking about, has HR. So they should be able to go to HR and ask some questions sometimes. And HR should be able to say, yeah, if you want to do this is how you're going to have to do it. So yes, I give the instruction and I have to look over things, but I have a team, right? The husband is the head of the wife, sure. What does Ephesians 5:21 say before Ephesians 5:25? Before you quote Ephesians 5:25, can you put in the comment section real quick? What does Ephesians 5:21 say? Like, let's be holistic, holy. Let's be whole. Before we quote Ephesians 5:25, what does Ephesians 5:21 say? Anybody want to put in the chat? If you know, anybody want to put it there? Right? You see what I'm saying? We want to be people and we want to control them simultaneously, but you're not the person, so you can't be them. And the best way to do it is not to control them, but allow them to have free will. If the Most High allows people to have free will, I'm talking about letting them have free will. Why does that become an argument? You said read the whole comment? Okay. So read the whole comment. The husband is the head of the wife, but the wife loves Christ as loved his, but love the wife as Christ loved the assembly, because the word church there wasn't there originally. That the word church comes from the word circus. But okay, is that the whole comment? So now that I've said that, can you read Ephesians 5:21? What does that say? Submitting yourselves one to another within the fear or reverence of Elohim. So submission is to both. Just like when it says husbands love your wives, it tells wives to love your husbands. Titus chapter 2, start at verse 3. So let's be holy, let's be holistic, let's bring it all in. Okay. And let's make sure that we understand. Now go back to Ephesians 5:19. You right in my wheelhouse. I teach this. We have a marriage class going on right now. I teach this, and we teach out of this. We have a whole session that's just nothing but Ephesians 5, right? So go back to Ephesians 5:19. Read that. What does that say? That says that you got to be careful what you feed in yourself. What are these hymns? What are these things that you listen to? Where are you getting this information? Get yourself in order so that you can even get to Ephesians 5:21, submit yourselves one to another. And then Ephesians 5:22 says that she should submit herself not to men and not to husbands, but what? To her own husband, which means he has to be in a specific position, right? With what? Be in it to her own husband, right? As unto the Most High. So if you're not in tune with the Most High, then she don't have to submit to mess. If you smacking your wife, she doesn't have to submit to that. Why would she? Why would Yah allow his daughter to submit to that? Now, if you're doing what's righteous, then you're about the mission, and therefore she would be in submission. It's not submission where she's in submission to a person, or she's submitted to a person, but she's in submission. You said the Holy Spirit is the teacher? Sure. What does that have to do with what we just said? Do you believe that the Holy Spirit taught and led Paul in Ephesians 5:19 and led him in 5:21 and led him in 5:22, led him in 5:25 through about what, verse 31 or 32, when it's talking about us? What about Titus chapter 2, right? What about Genesis chapter 2 that says that before Eve came that we needed to be in our work? And we needed to be in submission to the Most High before he even had Eve taken out of us. And therefore we believe our mother and father and what? Cleave to our wife, because she's more important to us than our mother and our father. Like, are we going to be whole? Or are we going to try to control the Most High's word? Are we going to be holistic? Are we going to be holy? WHOLY? You said, if you love your wife as Christ loves the assembly, your love is righteous. Yes. That has nothing to do with what we're saying. I don't comprehend that, right? I won't even pretend to understand that, because I don't even comprehend where you're trying to go. I comprehend, I guess, the words you're using. However, I will not understand. I will not stand under that principle, right? I haven't said anything other than husbands and wives should make sure that they submit themselves one to another. And if the Holy Spirit led Ephesians 5:22, the Holy Spirit led Ephesians 5:21. Why is one better than the other? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it that Ephesians 5:22? Now, what about Ephesians 5:25? You ain't mentioned that one yet. You have, excuse me. You've talked about that one, right? Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the assembly and gave himself for it. And gave himself for it, right? Now, if we're talking about Yahshua and the assembly, right, you would call it Jesus in the church, right? The word you say is in scripture. Okay, the words that I'm saying, Ephesians 5:21 doesn't say, okay, you're not, that's cool. If you want to listen, go ahead, listen in. But you're not actually trying to do something that benefits anything. You're just trying to be right. And you're proving our point, which once again, today we're trying to show people that a lot of people want to be you and they want to control you. A lot of people want to be the Most High and they want to control them. A lot of people want to be their wife and they want to control them. And don't realize by trying to be your wife, you're beating your wife. right? So before we get to the place at the end of Ephesians 5, because I would think that what's better for you, you should read on further, and you should actually say that towards the end it says, let your wife be reference her husband in everything, but read what has to happen with the husband first. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. And for you to say, just submit to me no matter what, that's not biblical. We're not supposed to submit to the Most High no matter what. We only submit to him because he does not lie. He cannot lie. If he ever told a lie, we wouldn't have to submit to him. That's why you submit to the Most High no matter what. The Most High is never without mistake, right? So you have to submit to him no matter what, because he doesn't make mistakes. You said you never said that. Yeah, you did. Okay, you never said that. You never typed that. Why do you keep saying wife submit, wife submit, wife submit, when I have no problem with wife submitting? And all I'm saying is, yeah, husband submit as well. You see, I'm not completely stupid, and neither are you. So let's just talk to each other as human beings, right? Like, let's not get into a competition or this and that of words, etc. Because I'm not impressed with trying to win. I don't care about trying to win. And I don't think you are either. If you're trying to be the man that you say that you are in here, and the man of God and all that stuff, then be that and leave his word with what it is. We don't have to control it. Sir, you act like I haven't read any of your texts. Right? You act like I haven't read any of your texts. I don't believe in God because I know where God came from. God is a Germanic deity. I know that Elohim, even if you were to read your Bible and read your concordance, because it seems like you're somebody who studies, read your concordance. Every time it says the word God, see what that word God actually means. Okay. All right. Thank you for being on, Jason. So, there's a thing there. We have to, be there to protect. Woman is God, but the woman is a Germanic deity, and you want to do that, that's fine. But if you're Afrocentric saying that, you probably should stop using the word God. If anything, start talking about Netcher, start talking about Anansi, start talking about Ginyami, start talking about things that have to do with you, because African people didn't believe in God. God is something completely different. But once again, we want to be people and control them. Or we want to be somebody's language and control their language and do whatever. Right? Like, we want to do these things and be about people and try to do these things or whatever. And people don't want to even hear perspective. They hear one thing and they go with it, right? They're not willing to actually hear. They're not even on the whole time. Heck, we have a whole series called Haven't Been Led As We Believe. Somebody could literally just go look up on YouTube, see what we're talking about with husbands and wives or marriage, etc., and be able to comprehend it. They can see that we know that sex is marriage and marriage is sex by the ancient quality and the things we're doing and for the culture and all these different things or whatever. And people get frustrated with you when they can't control you. People get upset. You're going to say Jesus. Well, why would I say half man, half Zeus? Because I don't worship a demigod. Right? Why would I be about Jesus, Yesu, just like Pegasus and Diamasus and all these other Zeuses and Zeus himself? Why would I do that? But people are going to try to be you and control you. I'm the Christian, and you're going to listen to what I have to say. Right? This is why this happens. I'm the husband, and I'm going to tell you everything is about listening to me. You will bow down to me. Look at my comments. My comments are the ones, right? You must look at my comments and tell me what it is. People want to be you and they want to control you. It puts us in a very odd place. How you doing today? How you doing, brother TJ? We're in a bad place with that. We're in a bad space with that. Of course, you can't have conversation with that. And really it's because he had to be right. Like, I gave him two scriptures that he couldn't deny. Ephesians 5:19, Ephesians 5:21. He was busy. Ephesians 5:22. Wives got to bow down. Wives got to bow down. That's what he was saying. Like, a wife just supposed to bow down. But it's like, you won't even read the scriptures that came right before your point. And then won't even barely mention. He did mention, but barely mention Ephesians 5:25. We're having a problem. Right? But people want to be you while simultaneously trying to control you. Can you see that? Like, that even within itself, it shows you where we are. And that's what's happening with a lot of stuff in society. A lot of these things that are happening, even these biblical conversations, people come in automatically trying to be you. Thank you. Is it Trishuba? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but thank you. Appreciate it. Right? People want to be you and they want to control you simultaneously, but you can't be anybody and you can't control anybody. You cannot be anybody and you cannot control anybody. If we could get that in our spirit, man, like I can't be you and I can't control you, a lot of these things that we're questioning go away. Right? A lot of these things question go away. Like I'm gonna keep it 100. This is gonna sound like and look, I comprehend. This is gonna make me sound, like my head is big. I think I'm all that. I think I'm better than people. It is what it is. Take it however you want. Prayerfully, those of you who know about us and know of me and stuff, you know that you know who I am, right? You know what I represent. If you don't, hopefully you would be willing to study me to see what I have to say, right? Because these people who say these things about this is always interesting. Men don't like it when I say that women should be protected, but then they won't listen to all these videos I have arguing with women and men, telling them that men should be respected, right? And then women don't like it when I talk about how men should be respected, but you won't look at all the videos and stuff that I have talking about that women should feel secure, But I'm gonna say this, even if it makes me sound like I think I'm all that or whatever, right? Because I don't mind being greater than what I used to be. And if somebody doesn't like the greatness that's in me, I'm okay with that. I also feel like I can comprehend the greatness in me and comprehend the humility that I need to have. So let me say it like this. How are you going to come to Israel about the word of Yah? Just because you want to be me, but you can't control me. So you used to be able to control me, but now you can't control me. How you doing, Dr. Lisa? Right? At least I think that's Dr. Lisa, right? Like it used to be you could control me. You always wanted to be me, but it used to be you can control me. Now you can't control me. How you going to come to Israel about the word of Yah? It's going to sound like I'm big-headed in that. But see, I'm not saying Israel just because of my skin color, just because of my DNA, just because of the fact that we can track and trace who we are because we have more knowledge. So no, I'm talking about like I live this. I am this, right? I focus on this. I bow down to the Most High all day. I'm about His word, right? My family is wrapped in this. We're getting ready to do what we're supposed to do, go as a family. In a sense, going 2 by 2, being able to go to different places and then try to make sure that hopefully somebody be able to bless us with something and not even knowing financially where the next financial gain is going to come from. Not even knowing where it's going to come from, when it's going to come from, how it's going to come. Right? But you're going to come to me about something that you probably don't even comprehend by the shuts. You probably don't even know what the first word of the Bible is. We got a problem. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Minister Tamara. Yeah. Thank you, Chashuba. Like this, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to say like I'm better than anybody else, but this is what I live. I would never go, right? Even if I don't agree with one, I would never tell the nuclear physicist you are ignorant when it comes to physics. I would never do that, right? Like even if I don't agree with the overall point that person is saying, I would never say you know something more because you live in this, you work this, you create nuclear reactors and stuff like that. Like why in the world would I come at you and tell you that you don't know what you're talking about? Even the nuclear physicist that messes up and causes Chernobyl to happen knows more than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so why would I do that? My wife is a herbalist. And when I say a herbalist, a lot of people out here just like, oh, I know that this doesn't. No, my wife creates natural medicine from scratch, right? Or not from scratch, but what the things are created that the Most High has given her. And she's able to do it and bless people with it. And in a conversation can know, oh, okay, I need to put this herb, with this herb, put it in a tincture, allow it to sit, make a formula, everything, and send it off to somebody. She just showed the stuff that for the people that are taking her class right now, showed the packages that she put together. I mean, that thing is well put together, well presented, amazing, incredible, right? Something I can never do. Like I don't even have the artistic ability in that sense. I can play music, but outside of music, I really don't have the artistic ability that she has as far as the presentation of the things. And like I would never, I can't even begin. So why would I go to her and tell her she doesn't know what she's talking about as far as healing? But it's because people want to be you and they also want to control you. But you want to be me without going through what it took to be me. That's a word for somebody right there, right? Like, thank you, Sister Dawn. Right? You want to be me, but you don't want to do what it took to be me. Right? Like a lot of people, look, I'm gonna be real. And look, we got ministerial staff, and I'm trying my best, and we're gonna make sure we're doing training and stuff. But for real, like, unless somebody wanted to be an apprentice, there ain't but so much I can give you. You know why? Because that's why Elijah got a double portion. I'm sorry, Elisha got a double portion of what Elijah left behind. Why? Because Elisha lived with that man. And Elijah still kept saying, I don't know if I can give this to you. I really don't know. Elisha said, I'm oppressed. I'm going to keep asking. I'm oppressed. And I'm going to be there. And I'm going to watch you get translated. And when I watch it, then I'll have a double portion. And they'll recognize what was on me, was on you. Like because you got to live this thing. And then you can be yourself. Right? And you don't have to control the outcome. Just be around. Learn how to be around people. Learn how to love people for who they are, to be around people, to honor people, to respect what they have, man. Like I had, like, look, man, I've been dealing, even though I took some time off because I was agnostic, but even in that, I was still studying religiosity, even if I wasn't studying the Bible. But man, I've been doing this since 4. Just because I'm not a celebrity doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about. And there's a lot of celebrity preachers that still couldn't tell you what buttershut means. You think that just because 100,000 people show up is an indicator that somebody's, you think that because somebody's the number one motivational speaker in the world, it means that they actually motivate? I'm not saying that they can't, but I'm just saying, like, that's not an indication. You think that because somebody is a psychologist that they have a great marriage? That's not an indication. Right? You gotta live this. Amen. My wife is a healer. Right? Like, you see what I'm saying? We live this. When we talk about get your spiritual word in and get your physical word in, right? Get that spiritual food, get that physical food. Like, we're the embodiment of that. We're the embodiment of that. Right? And that's what, because people want to be you, right? And they also want to control you. You cannot be somebody and you cannot control somebody. That's one thing I've learned. That's why, look, there are assemblies, there are churches, there are camps out there where if you don't, how you doing, Sister Laura? If you don't ensure that you're going to 100% give them, or not 100%, but if you don't ensure that you're going to give them a tithe, they don't even consider you to be a member of the organization. And if you die without giving tithes, they're not even going to do your funeral. Real talk. Like, I'm telling you this as somebody who's had to help other people out, whether I've gone to the funerals or not, had to help people get in touch with people to make sure people can get buried and have a service done, in a church setting, because their churches don't even want to accept them. And even if they're $1 million churches, they won't even help people. How you doing, Brother Ricky? Doing great things out there as always, right? So people do that. We don't even say you have to give. We don't even say make a payment. We ask for donations. And if people give donations, people will tell you. We don't even check up on you. Because you can't control. I've learned I can't control anybody. All I can say is, look, we're going to be in South Carolina. We're going to be in Chicago in the D. We're going to be at the DMV. We're going to be over, I don't know if it's going to be Houston or whatever, but we're going to be in that area at some point. We come into Florida, and all I can do is show up. And I got to have faith that people will do what they're supposed to do. Right? Even if we had an issue with the place that we were supposed to go to, right? Like we did. And we're trying to figure out October 14th to the 16th. We're way behind what we did. But we told people already, hey, by August 1st, can y'all please make sure that you got saved up to about 300? And then after that, we'll ask for, we're trying to get it down to 150. And wherever we're going to be at, we're going to try to make sure that it's easiest for everybody. But where we were, it's going to be too expensive, this, that, or whatever. But we've been saying for months, hey, save up this much. Save up this much. Be ready to get hotels and stuff. So, hey, hotels cost. A hotel a night, 100, something like that. So put together 200 with that. Put together the most 500. 500 should be able to make sure you got a hotel place to stay. If you need gas and stuff, we've been saying it for months. But all I can do, see, last year, I tried to do the whole thing and do the hotel thing. I'm not trying to get on anybody, right? Hopefully nobody takes it that way. I'm trying to talk to you about being people. I thought I was going to be people and I was going to do this and I was going to control people and okay, they're going to do this and blah, blah. Like, no, I've learned if you coming, you coming. Hallelujah. Right? If you're going to save up, you're going to save up. If you're able to, you're able to. If you're going to try and carpool, then carpool. We've told people, hey, let us know where you are. Even if you don't have a vehicle, whatever, let us know. We can see if somebody can ride with you. Somebody can rock with you, right? Let us know if you're going to get somewhere, but you probably won't be able to rent a car, because that way we know, do we need to rent a van? And we can just make sure we put that in the pricing, Like, let us know these things. We want to make sure. But it comes to a place, right? Let me stop, because I feel like if I go any further, I'll have the danger of it sounding like I'm trying to preach at people rather than talk to a situation. But I'm just trying to tell you, like, all you can do is do what you're called to do, right? Let me take it away from that, because people, I don't want nobody thinking I'm talking about them. I swear I'm not talking about anybody. I'm just being led, but sometimes it can sound like we're preaching business from the pulpit. And unless the Most High tells us to do that, I know that's a bad example. So please forgive me if you took it that way. It's not what I meant. It's not what I intended. I'm just trying to keep it 100 with us, right? Like, here's another one. Here's another one. Right? And how you doing, Minister Select Morel? Here's another one. Like, when it comes to speaking this thing on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, we've been taken down on many platforms, way more than once, maybe more than twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, right? And we keep coming back. And one thing I've had to do is just, you know what, I'm gonna be faithful. And sometimes it's been, every time it's almost been a completely different manifestation. This time it's like we've hit pay dirt, because this time when they took us down, we had enough of stuff set up to where our faithfulness said that people who really wanted to be down with this community, like, they started supporting what the community was doing. And so even though we might have only had 20 something people on a podcast, and a few other people that were showing up on Facebook, we were able to actually have keep what we were doing with 20 something people. We went from 1,000 people could be on live at the same time to 10,000 people could be on, on within like an hour period, to 30 something thousand people would be on through the whole live session. And we've come down in there. Wow. Okay. We might've had, a couple thousand people on the day, 4,000, 6,000. Wow. That's a really big number. But we're doing more than what we were doing before. One of the things I've learned now, and I'm learning people that are around me, they'll tell you I'm trying my best to be better at. I'm trying to have less control. I'm trying to say, man, you know what? Can you do the rising session? Can you do the prayer session? Can you teach this month? Can you speak a word here? Can you be over this community? Can you do the phone calls over here? Can you do the admin stuff? Like, can you report to my wife? My wife's in charge of this stuff anyways. Can you just go ahead and report to her? Like, I'm trying to learn to be a better assembler. I have to actually be somebody who has less control. To be a better leader of the environment, I have to stop trying to lead people. Right? You said leadership requires taking the higher ground so that you can continue lifting those up. Amen. Yeah. Yeah, delegation and stuff, and it's not because I feel like I even have to control. It's just that I'm used to being in church assemblies, right? That get together, and you got to give credit to everybody for everything we're doing. But my wife and I might do everything, and maybe one other person might show up the day of, like 30 minutes before, to help move some chairs around. And then I got to tell everybody, thank you. We did this as an assembly. Like, I'm used to that being the case. So I'm used to being like, hey, ain't nobody else gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then you see something that's your baby, and it's like your baby, right? Your baby grows up and do all these things, and you're excited about it. But your baby grows up and they start demanding independence. And at first you're like, how dare you, baby? Right? How dare you? How dare you demand independence? How dare you start walking away from me? And how dare you start going, man, I'm going to go play with my friends? And how dare you not give me the same hugs and kisses and say I love you and stuff like that, right? But they grow up. And it's the same thing, right? Like, we have to have this thing where we stop controlling everything. Is what I'm trying to get us at. You cannot be somebody else, right? And you cannot control somebody else. The second you do that, you, by definition, if you want to be somebody, maybe not so much, right? But if you want to control somebody, that is a witch. That's a witch. A witch is somebody who controls people. Ricky said, I like that. Good leaders are able to use other people's gifts to execute the overall vision, just like a great coach does. Yeah. One of the hardest, like, one of the things I got mad respect for in sports, even though everybody disrespects them, coaches. That's a great point, bro. Because think about all these coaches out here, and they're doing this, they're doing that, right? And all anybody does when they talk about coaches, basically, is usually when they're talking about how they need to be fired. If you have a great coach, you really don't talk about them. Like, people don't really talk about, like, I'm gonna use basketball example, so you might not know who I'm talking about, because now I'm not just talking about players but coaches. But people don't talk about Steve Kerr that much, right? All he does is keep winning. And people said, well, you had a great team, this and that. You took Mark Jackson's team, and then you had Kevin Durant. Okay, he helped build a team from scratch, taught these people how to become better players. Now they're about to go to a championship again with the same base, but the base players are not the same they used to be. But they have other people that now it's very clear that they've learned from these people. They train, they got the same trainers, the same shooting coaches, all this stuff, the same system. That's a coach. Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches of all time, but you don't hear nobody talk about him. Right? Now, when his team is losing, now all of a sudden, well, maybe it's time for him to retire, this, that, or whatever. But nobody talks about it because they're coaching. But one of the things that you rarely see happen, showing you how people try to be and control people. Thank you, Keitra. All right, like one of the things that people don't comprehend is that the coach, a lot of the best coaches are never the best players. A lot of the best coaches are never the best players. Not always. But a lot of the best coaches, a lot of the best people who sit and make personnel decisions on high places and stuff. How you doing, man? You will never really see these people. You will never really see these people. What? You'll never really see these people in positions of that do well in coaching. There are some, like Jason Kidd's an example of one right now. Phil Jackson, but once again, Phil Jackson wasn't really a great player. He won 2 championships as a player, but he wasn't a great player. He was on a great team. But because he learned how to be a lesser player on a great team, he became a great coach. Even though Phil Jackson, by all accounts, is probably a jerk. But when it comes to putting the team together, how you doing, Chef? When it comes to assembling a team and coming together as a team, you can't tell Phil Jackson nothing. But when he had now I'm talking about coaching the team, rather, assembling the team, he's some trash. By to say it, he's some trash, right? Like he's not very great at it. He's probably better than I am, right? But I'm just saying his obviously the New York Knicks thing didn't work out, but it didn't seem like he was really into it. He was actually just getting the money and not doing anything, But you have to recognize, like when it comes to coaching, he's a lesser player, but he did really well when he got stars and stuff because he played with stars. He played with leaders on the team. He realized that they had to come together, and he even used a lot of spirituality. Even though he doesn't seem to use it in his personal life that much, but he actually used a lot of spirituality. Yeah, right. They were burning sage. The Los Angeles Lakers. I think the Chicago Bulls as well, but the Los Angeles Lakers. Shaq tells plenty of stories where they be burning sage before they get ready to play. Right? Like you have to recognize like there's a lot to it, and so you cannot force anybody. Matter of fact, Phil Jackson, coach, one of the greatest things that he kind of used to do, and a lot of now coaches imitated it, is that with the Jordan team, Jordan Bulls, and with the Shaq and Kobe Lakers and all that, the Jordan and Pippen Bulls, he used to allow them to just keep playing. Right? No, nobody said burning sage is wrong. I was using it as a positive thing. He even burned sage. He used spirituality, right? Even though he didn't use it in his personal life. But what I'm saying is, like, he used to, um, what is it? I'm sorry. Where was I going? He used, it'll come back. Oh, he used to allow his players, so they'd be down. Like, let's say his team is down 10, 15, 20 points. That's a lot to overcome, especially back then. Nowadays, people score more points, but back then it was a lot to overcome, right? So he would just let them keep playing. He wouldn't call a timeout. Most coaches, something's happening, something bad's happening, this and that, call a timeout. He just let them get their butts kicked for a little bit, and then because he felt like, hey, you guys are great players, you're a great team, you'll figure it out. You don't need me to tell you everything. I might give you instructions from the sideline, but I'm just going to sit and let you guys do what you do. We've coached, we put this together, we've trained, we've done all these things. You should be able to do these things, right? And so he set an environment to where you should be able to do these things. He set an environment to where Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Steve Kerr, John Paxson, Judd Butler, B.J. Armstrong. I know I'm mixing up different teams or whatever. Horace Grant, Tony Kukoc, Dennis Rodman, Ron Harper, Randy Brown. Some people that you know I'm talking about. Some people you don't know who I'm talking about, right? But these players who all got rings and stuff and didn't even like each other the whole time. But there was an environment that said that we got to love each other even when we don't like each other. Like a lot of those Jordan Bulls do not like Michael Jordan. but they won with Michael Jordan because the team was more important than what I like. I have to love, not like. What is my position? What do I do? Where I plug in? I can't control Michael. And when Michael started realizing he can't control me and stopped trying to manipulate me and stuff, and there was an environment where I could even stand up to him for myself, even if it might not go well for me, but at least there was an environment that I could stand up to him, right? Then all of a sudden we have a position to where now we can have a better team. And the same thing needs to happen. But we are in a system, right, in this world where the system says to try and be other people and control other people. You said he allowed his players to figure out what they were doing wrong, and most times they won. Yeah. And by the way, if you figure out how to come back from a deficit that's bad, that is that bad, it actually will allow you to be able to realize when you're in a situation like that again, two things happen. You realize, oh, okay, this is why we got in the situation last time. We'll get out. Also, two, you realize I can get out. And thanks for being part of being on with us today, Naya. Ricky said, "Yep, yes, that's the vision." As he understood what you were saying, yeah, yeah, character. You build character too, exactly, right? And it allows people to say, "Okay, yeah, I can be greater. I can do these things. I can operate in this. I can move. I can grow." Right? You know, people get weird with me sometimes when they'll be like, "Man, I'm in this situation. My money's like this, and I don't know how to do this, and blah blah." And I'll be like, "You know what? Praise Yah." And be like, praise yeah. Now I won't automatically come out like that, right? But I'll tell them eventually, like, hey, you know what? I'm thankful and grateful you're going through this. What do you mean? Because you're going to be stronger. I'm not saying we won't help you, because of course we'll try to help you as best we can. If we have it, we give it. If we don't, we can't. It's that simple. But I'm thankful. We're going to talk about this. We're going to do our one-on-one sessions. We're going to do our life coaching. We're going to do our marital coaching and things like that. But, I'm thankful that you're going through this. This is going to make you stronger. This is going to bless you and your family. This is going to cause you to go to levels that you didn't think were possible. Right? Like this is going to cause you're going to deal with pain. But you know what? I'm not going to give you a painkiller, because painkillers kill your ability to recognize the pain. The pain, your body is telling you that something needs to be healed. I'm thankful and grateful that the pain is there. Now let's go ahead and start the healing process. Let's not cover up the pain. Let's start the healing process. Yeah, Ricky said that's how we find out about how much we really have. Yeah, the faith we really have. Aman, right? Like I'm thankful for the pain. I'm thankful for the pain. Look, I got back pain. I told y'all, like my back was messed up. It's getting a little better as we speak. Praise y'all. But I was, my wife would tell you, I was struggling just to get up out of bed, and then I dropped a couple of things on the floor. I tried to go down and get them, and it was like, it was bedlam, right? Right. However, I'm thankful because it helped me to realize that had I just taken the painkiller and I was able to move, I'm still doing structural damage. Right. But at least the pain is showing me what's wrong. If I have no, like there are people, as much as we think that we would want to be painless in life, it's very few people in history. I think something like under 10 people that they know for sure this has happened. But you know how like you'll watch a movie or something and they'll be like, this person can't feel pain. There are actually people who have never been able to feel pain. One of them is a famous coach in football, Tony Dungy. He has a son. I don't know if it's his youngest or his second oldest, whatever, but he can't feel pain. He cannot feel pain. So so when they was younger, his son used to be in trouble all the time because he couldn't feel pain. So for example, right, let's say you are a parent, you tell your child not to touch the stove, right? Don't go in there, don't touch the stove, don't touch those cookies and stuff. It's hot. Your child will be like, hot, hot. They kind of know hot. They kind of felt hot. But at some point, they're going to touch that stove. At some point, they're going to touch that heater. Right? And they're going to touch it and they're going to realize from that point on, that's what hot is. I'm not going to do, I'm not dealing in hot. And that way, like if they see hot, like there's times, right? Like be honest, like some parents, I look bad at this, but there are times as a parent where you will know that you've told your child 17,000 times, right? You told your child 17,000 times, hey, don't touch that. That's hot. But they're going to walk up and touch it. And so you go, you know what? I know that's not that hot. It's not going to hurt them. It's not going to put any marks on them. I'm going to let them touch it. Because I told them, right? They need to learn. I told them. They go up, they crawl, they do whatever, they touch it. Ah, hot. And they start screaming and stuff. And you just kind of look at them like, yeah, I told you it's hot. And then they kind of look at you like, yeah, it's hot. And you say, okay, don't touch it again because it's hot, right? Yeah, okay, I won't. So every time I tell you it's hot, you know what hot means, right? Yeah, it's hot. You know, and you're like, okay, we got a dialogue. Even at your little 2-year-old self, your little one-year-old self, you comprehend now. When I say something, when I say hot, it's hot. Believe me, if I tell you other things are bad, you're gonna recognize, okay, bad is bad. I can get bad through hot. I learned bad. I learned hot real quick. Imagine somebody who cannot do that though. Right? You said the pain and burn is less than confirmation of parents' wisdom. Right. Amen. So watch this. Tony Dungy's son, and there's only, I think there at the time he's talked about it, there had only been like six, 7 cases, something like that in the world that people had ever seen of somebody who this happens to them. Right. That's how irregular this is to not be able to feel pain. He said his son goes in the kitchen and doesn't necessarily scream, doesn't necessarily stop doing things when he gets hot. So he said, you normally have to watch your children. Every once in a while, your children escape your view. He said, especially though, if you got a son who can't feel pain. Why? Because what would happen is stuff like his son would have to learn by almost dying, right? His son would go into the kitchen when everybody's gone, everybody thinks that they're there, everybody's watching the show, maybe somebody's supposed to watch them falls asleep. His son goes into the kitchen, would open the oven. He reaches in the oven, pulls out the sheet. Now he's burning himself. He's burning himself. All right, brother Ricky, you have a blessed one, right? He's burning himself, right? But doesn't feel it. He grabs the sheet and the cookies, doesn't feel it. He puts it in his body, right? He eats it, and it's burning his whole body up. He doesn't feel it, but all of a sudden he can't breathe. Why? He's having issues. Well, first of all, your hands and stuff are messed up, right? But his body's not telling him that he needs to go in the shop. So you're having a problem there. Number two, your lips are swelling up and everything. Your throat is actually shutting down and everything. Your esophagus is messed up. Your whole body, your tongue is swelling because you're right. He's burned his whole body up, inside out, because he's reaching inside for these cookies because he cannot feel pain. He has nothing that tells him that this is not what you need to do. So as much as we sometimes might even want to have a painless experience, is not really what you think it is. A movie gives you a glorified thing, but the person that can't feel pain doesn't know. Could you imagine, right? Going outside, you running with your friends, you have a nail go through your foot and don't even know any better. And then eventually as you're running, you're trying to figure out why isn't my foot working? And then you look down at your foot but behind you and you're trailing blood. Pain is a necessity, especially in this imperfect situation that your body is in. Pain is a necessity to be able to show you the imperfection. And in this imperfect season, as you're salvaging yourself, perfecting yourself, you need to feel pain. Don't try to be without pain, and don't try to control everything that happens. Don't try to, you don't try to mask the pain. Don't try to take painkillers. Don't try to only hang around people that never tell you about pain, or when you're in pain, try to always make you feel like pain don't matter, or you're not in pain, or it's somebody else's problem. You need pain in your life. And by the way, this is where it gets tricky because a lot of us do not only not want to deal with our own personal pain. If we keep it 100, a lot of us do not even want to deal with the pain of others. Real talk. So somebody comes to you with pain. I don't like pain. Stop being a victim. That's why I don't like to be around people. People always coming around and bringing you down and this and that or whatever. I don't want to deal with people. Well, then how? You know what? One of the verses that sticks out to me in the Bible that I know a lot of people don't read. That's why we say read your Bible; it'll bless you. right? Romans chapter 15, verse 1. Read that when you get a chance. After all the other stuff on the Roman road we talk about, and all this stuff, and all things working together for the greatness of Elohim, for his constitution, for his good, for the good, and for those who love him are called according to his purpose. All these things we like to read, and salvation, and being saved, and preaching the word, and becoming a living sacrifice. We love all that stuff. We like to talk about it. But then Romans 15:1, towards the end of the book of Romans, right? Romans 16, that's kind of when he's giving a shout out to everybody else. But check out Romans chapter 15 when you get a chance. Romans chapter 15 and verse 1. It basically starts off by saying that those of you who've gone through this process, like those of you who are strong, you need to take on the infirmities of the weak. You're not strong just for yourself. And the word infirmity is not just talking about physical health, it's really talking about mental health. It's talking about your spiritual health. It's talking about your psychology, your soul. It's talking about like your health is or the other people around you got health. So guess what? Now that you're strong, take on their infirmities. If you don't like that one, Luke chapter 22, verse 31 and 32, that's Yahshua speaking to Peter, where he says, Simon, Simon, behold, pay attention. The devil desires to have you that he might sift you as wheat. However, I have prayed for you that when our faith, so that your faith would not fail you. And when you are converted, wait a minute, Peter, you walking with Christ. Simon, you walking with Christ. Simon, you left your wife behind to follow Christ, right? Like you told your wife, I'm gonna be with Christ. Y'all stayed married, but you told her like, this is the Messiah. I gotta be obedient. And she said, hey, be obedient, right? You came and visited from time to time, but you did all these things. You cut off somebody's ear, like you walked on water. You're the only other person besides Christ that can make that claim that you walked on water, at least as far as we know. Other people say they have. To each their own. If they say they have, they have. We haven't seen it, right? Just like we can say we haven't seen Christ. Touche, right? But these people have. You did all that stuff, and Christ said, even with you saying, "I am the Christ," which the Holy Spirit revealed to you, even though you didn't have the ability to have the Holy Spirit in you yet, He said, you still ain't converted. Get yourself together. Stop trying to be other people. Stop trying to control other people, so that when you get it together, now you can help them to become their greater selves. And you can, right, when you are converted, you still ain't converted yet, but you need to strengthen other people on their path. So when you get converted, see, a lot of people had this idea that just because you preach a word, you converted. That's why people get surprised, but you shouldn't be surprised if somebody's preaching is still out here cheating on their spouse. Just because you can say, just because you can give people goosebumps, just because you can read a book doesn't mean that you're converted. Just because you can sprinkle some Jesus on it like it's salt on a steak doesn't mean you converted. It doesn't mean that you are. It just means that you can read a book. And praise Yah for those who read the book, right? But don't just read the book, get the culture. And do what the Most High says. That's what interpretation. Why do we keep saying this stuff? One interpretation, many application. Because people out here talking about this is my interpretation. As soon as it's your interpretation, what are you saying? I'm going to be God. Because the only way you can interpret something is if you're the person that wrote it. If it's going to be your interpretation, you're saying I wrote it. If it's your interpretation, you're saying I said it. But if you're saying I'm going to use his interpretation, or I'm going to interpret it correctly, what you're saying is this is not my interpretation. You're saying this is something that I have to hold in regard for what they said. And it's often interesting. That's why when people come on here and they start saying, like the guy was saying earlier, read the full comment that I said and do this. I'm like, you're talking to the wrong person, bro. Like, I'm into interpretation. I'm not saying I'm perfect to where I can't miss something, but hey, if you say go back and read it, I'm gonna be the first person. Go back, read your full comment. Okay, yeah, I did. I hit everything that you said, right? Because I'm very big about, let me say exactly what you said. Matter of fact, those of you who do one-on-one sessions or coaching sessions or whatever it is with me, right? And we have teaching, conversation, etc. You guys will hear me say stuff to you like, is that what you meant? I don't just go, I'm the pastor, so whatever I say, like I'll be up there, I'll be interpretive. Somebody say, this is my dream, blah, blah. I'll be interpreting and I'll say, does that sound right to you? I hope I'm doing what's right. Like, that's what I feel, that's what I'm seeing, that's what I'm getting. You can be the one to confirm what I'm saying, because it's your life. If I'm gonna speak about it, I'm gonna speak about it, but I want to make sure that I'm in what you're talking about. How you doing, Frankie Lee? Like, I want to make sure I'm giving you what you are talking about. Right? I want to make sure that you're It's your interpretation. See, if I'm interpreting your dream, then I need to be interpreting your dream. Yeah, people think non-agreement is not comprehending. Yeah, yeah, right. But if I'm interpreting your dream, I got to interpret your dream. I'm not trying to have my dream, right? That's what interpretation is. It's your dream. Let me listen to what your dream says, and then let me listen to what the Holy Spirit says, and then I'll just simply tell you what they say. Right? That's interpretation. That is interpretation. That's how that works. That's how that operates. That's how that works. That's how that operates. But we are so busy trying to take on everybody else's culture and mindset and other people's culture. They get to switch words and they get to tell you, oh, this is what I meant when I said that, even though I, like that word, like um, there was something floating around about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case or whatever, and she basically had not donated money to charity or something like that she was supposed to donate to, and I guess so she lied. She was in perjury. She told the court in England or wherever they were that she had actually, um, donated the money to charity. Come to find out, she didn't donate it. So then, in America, in Virginia, wherever the trial is, somewhere in Virginia, they they brought it up and she was like, oh no, we didn't, I pledged it. And the lawyer was like, no, like that's not my question. Did you donate? She's like, no, I pledged it. I use pledge and donation interchangeably. No. She was like, no, like we're not gonna, and people don't like that when you hold them accountable. She was like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna shift around. She was like, your lawyers will come up and they can redirect in a second, right? But as far as my responsibility is, I'm asking you a specific question. Did you donate the money? Well, pledge and donation, you pledge the money first. That's, everybody knows that's how a donation works, which is a lie anyways, right? But regardless, like let's say that's the case. Either way, she's not asking you about pledging. She's asking you specifically, did you donate money? Right? But other cultures, they want to control things so bad, right? That they will actually lie and think that, and forgive me for saying this, right? I'm going to the social construct if y'all don't like this, right? I'm sorry, Dudley, you said your son has a very high pain tolerance, so you understand it. Yeah, and it can be very difficult sometimes to probably deal with him if he can go through things with the pain and doesn't necessarily think that he needs to tell you. Sometimes it might help him through things too, right? But a pain tolerance doesn't mean he can't recognize the pain, so that's great. That's kind of a best of both worlds situation, right? But people don't want to go through that. If you hold somebody accountable for what they say, people get really frustrated. You can tell that they're not living what they say, because why would you be extremely frustrated unless like somebody's saying something that's a lie? Like here's another thing. For example. Um, a lot of people would be like, why, especially with men, why are you getting so upset? If you ain't do it, you shouldn't get upset. That sounds nice and everything, but that's very feminine. If I'm around one of my boys and my boy, like if I'm around one of my boys and he gets accused of cheating, and he's like, man, whatever, I'm not cheating. That boy cheating, right? Like, sorry to get the game up, fellas, but we ain't here trying to protect, illegal operations in the family, right? It's our pleasure. Is it Denise? It's our pleasure, Denise, right? Like, we ain't trying to sit up here and try to make sure that we set up illegal operations in the marriage, right? Like, real talk. If you talking to somebody and you're like, man, you cheating, he's just like, man, whatever. Now, if you beat him up or blah blah about it for years and years and years or something, like maybe he gets to that level, but he'll probably still be upset. If you joking around with somebody and y'all teenagers, whatever, and you like, man, you got a crush on so and so, or he want to hit that or blah blah, he will get upset and he will try to fight everybody there, right? The second that somebody's calm, cool, calm, and collected about it is the second that it's like, nah, bro, like you probably did it, right? But because we want to be people and we want to control people, we'll say, well, you don't react the way that I want to react. Now, I'm not saying every guy, right? I'm not saying we got to put everybody in a stereotype, this and that, or whatever. But I'm trying to tell you, most cats are not gonna just be like, oh yeah, you cheating, and be like, oh, whatever. Like we go get angry. Why? Because you're attacking my family. And if I'm a real husband, I make sure that I secure my family. And if I'm a real husband, I expect respect. And to tell me that I did something I didn't do is disrespectful. Even sometimes you'll see guys that will start to do that, but you can tell because it's kind of false. That you can tell they're acting. They're not really angry. They're acting. So you can even tell, like, okay, he don't really feel that. He probably cheating. Like, I'm not saying everybody. What I'm trying to tell you, right? There's levels to it, right? I'm not saying that I can look at somebody and just tell you, yeah, they definitely cheating, they not cheating, this and that. What I'm saying is, like, we don't know, but because we'll be like, I want him to be more feminine, I want him to act like me. If I was him, I wouldn't do that, blah, blah. But no, like, in a man's world, you challenge me, get ready for the challenge. I like challenges, but I also respond to challenges with challenges. So don't challenge me and expect that you're not going to get a masculine challenge, right? Exactly. Like, don't challenge my house and think that I'm not going to go into protector mode. Even if protector mode means I need to go against the person I'm protecting at the moment, right? Don't go to your husband and say you cheating, and he wants to make sure he stays with you, but he realized he got to eradicate what's in your head and think that he's not coming at you. I'm not talking about trying to put hands on you or anything. I'm talking about he might yell at you because he's not even speaking to you. He's speaking to a spirit at that time. I got to get this out of our home. I got to get this out of our head. I got to get this out of our lives. This can't this has to be dealt with right here, right now. Period. I've got to protect this. This is supposed to be death do us part, and I'm not going to have us part before death. Let me speak up on this. That is his mindset in that moment. So when we talk about how do we speak to somebody, I don't know how to speak. What's the biblical way of doing things? First of all, read the language. Do you know the language of your husband? Right? Like, we put out two simple books before for people, and I don't know how many people have read them, but we've been putting these out for a long time. Men Are from Mars, Women from Venus by Dr. John Gray. Right? And these aren't even, that one's not even biblical. The other guy, he's into the Bible, so he'll mention biblical principles, but it's not even his, but it's not, I wouldn't even call it a biblical book, but he's somebody who's actually, I don't know if he's a preacher or not, but he's somebody who, has been in church his whole life. The Five Love Languages by, I'm missing that one. Dr. Um, let me look it up. I can't remember his name. And the Five Love Languages. Oh, Dr. Gary Chapman, by Dr. Gary Chapman. Like two books that will change your mind blow your mind as far as some of the things that you think and some of the issues you've been having. And don't just say I read it 20 years ago. Like, bring that thing back every once in a while and go through the process of, am I still doing, let me crucify the flesh this month. Let me read this book. Am I operating like, when I deal with my children, do I speak to their love languages? Like, those are two simple books. There's tons more. Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. I can't remember the name of that author right now, right? The guy who passed away. But Don't Sweat the Small Stuff and different things like that. There's tons of things as far as how we operate, how we talk to each other. But as far as relationship, husband and wife, and by the way, then when you start realizing that, then you start thinking, now relate that to your husband, Elohim, right? And you being his wife, and see if there might be some issues there. Yeah, real men have to handle their business like that for sure. He said most of the time his friend already knows because at one time or another they helped him cheat. Uh, I mean, it could be. In all honesty, I don't know. Like, that could be. There are guys, I guess, that do that, and they're sick. I don't really hang around dudes that cheat. And matter of fact, like, my wife can tell you, we've had people that are our friends because my friends are her friends and all that stuff, and we hang around families. And really, I don't have time. In all honesty, I don't really get to hang out with people like that at all. If I do, it takes a lot for me to be able to set up a time to just sit down with somebody. Um, um, but yeah, I guess if you're around, but then I would start asking myself, like, why, that's what we got to be, even with that, that's why we got to be husbands and wives and understand what that is and be pre-qualified before marriage and go through it, know what the vetting process even is. We date. So since we date, you get with people that lie to you anyways. That's what dating's about, right? We go on one date. It's a date. We meet up and it's dated. We don't even have a plan past the date. We're just going out and hoping, okay, this turns into something more, rather than being trained for marriage and looking for husbands and wives where dating is not even required, because I should be able to recognize what's in you because I've been trained for this my whole life. So a lot of times we get with people that are lying, but I don't know what it is to hang around people that are lying and to help people cheat. Matter of fact, I've had people that I've been connected to in the past. I've talked about this before. I've had people I've been connected to in the past that I've had to let go because come to find out they were cheating, and I found out through people that thought that I was helping them. So I had to make sure, not publicly per se putting them down, but I basically had to make sure that in a very public way, as far as just my absence, that I'm not going to be around you. And anybody who's done that around me and found out about it, like, I've talked about somebody recently where we found out about some stuff and try to reach out to them, call them up, check on them. And the person didn't want to answer the phone because they know I'm about to go in. Because we should be holding each other accountable. So yeah, I guess, we're finding those things. I hope people are staying away from those things. But once again, a lot of us haven't really been trained on that. You said men who know it's wrong don't want to break the man code. Well, that's because they're not men. That's boy code. You can call it whatever you want. I don't know men like that. I'm just being 100. Like, I really don't. Maybe I do, but they hiding it. I don't know brothers like that. I think we do this thing where it's like, because there's a bunch of ratchet men in the world, and we think that because you go to a building, the church, that a bunch of them men aren't still in the world. I think we do this thing where it's like all men, be like that, or most men are like that. Like, I don't know those men. I know there are I'm aware of those men, but no, intimate with, I don't have a relationship with those men. Like, they're in the front on manhood, and they make me look bad in front of my wife. If my wife were able to find out that I'm letting somebody else cheat, then how in the world is she going to not have the right to be able to say, maybe you cheating too? So a lot of us have been hurt, but I wouldn't call it a man code. I call it a boy code. And a lot of us were trained to date little boys rather than look for husbands that were worthy of marriage. Sex is marriage, marriage is sex. And a lot of us, we weren't trained for that. Amen. Come out from, boy code, child code, milk. Obviously, you're not ready for manhood. Yeah. It's just like if you go it up with if it's just like if you have a friend and your friend, like, women do this a lot. Like, if you got a friend and your friend is somebody who's not looking for marriage and is out, but it's just like, oh, but that's my girlfriend. We do this. We go to the club, blah, blah. Like, don't be weirded out if your husband starts being like, I don't want you to hang around her. Well, why don't you want me to hang around? You think you can control me? No, it's not about controlling you. I need you to comprehend in that moment that when you're going, I trust you, but you're going out to a club with a friend that's very sexually active and is not trying to be married, but you married. He might have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? But we're not thinking about that. And I would call that a girl code. Little girls, that's the code. To protect that friendship and that relationship, why would you want that? I don't want, like, I'm be honest with you. I don't know if I have, besides people in the SOC, of course, I'm just going to be honest. And I don't, like I said, I don't really get a chance to hang out with anybody because I'm always on the move or always busy doing something. But I'm being honest, I don't know if I have a single friend. I'm not saying SOC, right? I know that we talk with people and stuff. Please don't take that as, oh, he don't like nobody at SOC if I'm single. I'm just being honest. I don't think I have a single friend, male or female. I don't think I have a female friend. Like, as far as like we actually just hang out and so we're gonna go somewhere together, I don't have that at all. But I don't know if I have a male that's single that I would actually say, besides if we meet up with men from SOC, I don't think that I have anybody in my life that I can say is a friend of mine and is single. Like, we just hang out. Because I'm married, like not because of a married code or anything, just because like married people usually do things with married people, or married people usually end up around married people. Not on purpose. I don't do it on purpose. I'm just saying, like, I don't even think that exists. Like, I'm too busy in my work to even be in a position to where I can be around somebody that's cheating and stuff. You know? You said all your married friends' husbands are okay with you being their friend. Oh, testament how you move. Yeah. You said if one spouse is cheating, they're both cheating, they're one causing them to commit adultery. Yeah, most definitely. You said that's true, they are boys, and say that it's not their business. Yeah, well, yeah, and by the way, it is my business because a man or any adult, really, everything that happens in the community is my business, and people don't want to talk about that. See, this is going to be, it's almost going to sound, now it's going to sound contradictory because I don't want us to be in a position of trying to control others, right? I don't want us to try and want to be others. But reality, like people do this weird thing where it's like, it's none of your business. Now, look, there's certain things that y'all never need to know about my personal life. Even if I ever write a book that's like a tell-all book or something, there's still certain things that I don't need to necessarily put in the book, right? Because it's not for everybody. However, however, right? If we keep it 100, um, if you do something in public, it's my business. You said makes you feel like they were never your friends. You settling into being by yourself or you're by yourself, okay? But if you do something in public, it is our business. If you do something and it gets caught up out there, it is our business. If you cheat, see what? Every marriage that's in my community, it is important to me because my community, well, you said debatable. Okay, well, that's debatable, right? But if you're in my community and the diaspora needs to be better, if you do something that messes up the diaspora, it's my business. Now, I'm not saying that if you spank your child and then you come over there and tell you not to spank your child, but if you abusing your child, it might be my business to say something about it. If you out here cheating on your wife, if we got into a place to where all men are considered to be trash, you hear what I'm saying? Like it's not a thing of, oh yeah, there's some good men out there. No, we hear all men are trash. We hear all men are cheating. We hear this and that. Well, at some point, it's got to be my business to say, yo, the way that I live my life is being hindered by what you do. The way that my children in my community coming up are being hindered by what you do. Brothers, we got to get it together. Look, your business is my business because we're a family. There's some things that that we've been dealing with because we still dealing in some weird, what happens in this house stays in this house. But in that house, if they was messing with you and molesting you at some point, somebody got to say something. Get that baby out of there. If you don't want them to go to jail, fine. Pay for them to be able to go and live somewhere else where they ain't gonna be around our children anymore because they can't be messing with them anymore. But something got to be done. Something's got to be said, right? Husbands coming up talking about I keep being cussed out every night and being told that you ain't never gonna be nothing but your daddy and you ain't good and this and that or whatever. At some point, that becomes my business, right? Right. Well, in a sense, I can even go with that, right? Not bashing men, but why are they so silent? Once again, see what I'm saying? The whole thing is not, see, that's how we gotten to. It's not why are some men so silent? It's why are all men silent? Because I'm not silent. And there's other men out here that ain't silent. Real talk. Like there's other guys out here that are not silent, right? But we're not, but once again, we're not even the ones that people listen to. you know, like that's the way the system is set up. I want you to realize and recognize that if a black man comes out and says there's no problems here, nothing to see, keep your business to yourself, live your best life. Call women B's and H's, everything's fine. Not only are men attracted to that mess and will give them the views and the numbers, women are attracted to it. Because a lot of men don't even know how to dance because it's not even considered to be masculine to dance anymore. It used to be cool to go out there and actually, instead of shoot each other up, you go to the club and y'all would actually have a dance off, right? That actually used to be something that was a real thing, right? Nowadays we laugh at it, but that used to be a real thing back in the day where you could actually like have a dance off and it was masculine. It was okay to be a man and dance and do stuff like that, right? But now you don't dance. So when people was out there, remember we talking about that song, to the windows and to the walls, to the sweat drip down my balls, right? Make all these female crawl, talk about skeet and all that. It wasn't men out there on the club with that. It wasn't men out there in the club doing that. It wasn't men out there at your proms and all that doing that, at your homecoming. It was women dancing to that. You know what I'm saying? At some point, when I'm looking around and seeing that, when does that become my business? At some point, like when does the community become our business? Yeah, at least before you're right, and then at least you handled it with your fist if you didn't dance or whatever, right? But now it's straight up, we're gonna shoot you. You said narcissism is unfortunately attractive. Women protect men who call other women out their name. Yeah. And once again, why? It ain't my business anyways. You're a woman. Why is it not your business that he called you the B word? Yeah, B-boys was lifestyle, part of hip hop, right? Part of the 5 stages of hip hop, or the 5 parts of the culture, if you will. But you know what I'm saying? Like we're when does it become? That's the question. When does it become my business? Because here's the deal. Can we keep it 100? If it's not supposed to be my business until it's supposed to be my business, it's never my business. That's going to sound wild. Now, I'm not saying there are not context, right? There are certain things that are for you. You handle, it's yours. I ain't got no problem with it, right? That's why I tell people, in all honesty, especially if you're married, I'm not really trying to pastor your wife because you're supposed to pastor your wife. I'm just trying to give information that both of y'all can use so that y'all can do what y'all need to do, and she can lay down the law, you can give instruction, your children can be fine, right? Like at the end of the day, my goal is not to be over a person. I'm over an environment. If you want to come in the environment, to be a leader in that environment, but I tend to the environment. And by tending to the environment, I must tend to the people, right? That's all I'm doing. I'm a servant, okay? I'm a master teacher, but I'm also a servant, right? I'm a disciple. But at some point, what happens is this: is it can't be my business only when you're in dire straits. Because what happens is that's cognitive dissonance. It's all over the place. Right? Here's an example. How many brothers have to deal with this where you got a sister, right? There's a lot of men who have dealt with this before. You got a sister, that sister is getting beat up in her relationship, literally beat up, you know, like makeup can't cover it, this and that, or whatever. And you come and talk to her about it. Well, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You know, he loves me. He just made a mistake. It'll never happen again. Right? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get a call. Help, my life's, on the line. He doing this and that, whatever. He gonna kill me. Blah blah. Right? Now, when we get that call as a man, guess what? I'm not going into maybe I should blah blah. Let's go ahead. Maybe we should call the police. Even though I'm going over, I'm about to handle some stuff. Hopefully, I'm just gonna be able to take you away from the situation or kick dude out. But I'm going over there prepared. If I need to lay hands on somebody, we're gonna lay hands. Right? Matter of fact, might bring some other men with me because we're gonna make sure that whatever we need to do to cause that to be there. We don't want him necessarily to even get arrested, but hey, if he get arrested, he did what he did. But we want to make sure that he comprehends that he ain't never gonna put hands on you again, and he might need to leave for a little while. We get over there though, and so we talking. The dude tried to jump on one of us. So, it, as long as the guy can handle himself, we don't jump him or anything. We just sitting there, whatever, right? But he tried to jump on one of us. As soon as he tried to jump on one of us or whatever, the person he jumping on put it to the dude, put it to this no good man that's trying to say that he's a husband and really is a little boy, right? Or he comes there, he punks out because a lot of these people, these little boys that put their hands on grown women, a lot of them punk out anyways because they hit the woman because they have no control in their life. And so they trying to do something together, right? As soon as that happens, not only will sometimes they get back together anyways, which is fine, that's their choice, but then sometimes she will jump on the dude who's basically being, her husband, whatever, is trying to beat this guy. So when her husband starts getting beat up, then she goes and she starts beating up the dude that came to help. So guess what happens in that guy's mind when we see that? Guess what happens? We say, never again. Now I'm not even saying we should do that, but let's just be honest. In his mind, never again. I came over to protect my woman, protect my sister. That could be my mother. That could be my sister. That could be my friend. That could be my aunt, whatever. I came over and you jumped on me, and you're going to let him stay and keep beating the bricks off you? Cool. Like that's kind of how that happens a lot. Right? When that's how that happens a lot. So a lot of guys just go, okay. But now that's an extreme example. I get that, right? That is an extreme example. But what I want to add to that though is that there's a lot of stuff that happens like that. Hey, why aren't there any men to say this? Well, you keep telling me you strong, independent, you don't need a man. When do I jump in? It's double dutch. And I keep looking, but the rope, every time it's time for me to go in, you ain't doing what you're supposed to. You're supposed to keep the rhythm the same. You're supposed to keep the energy the same. And so I keep looking, right? And every time I get ready to jump in, you speed it up. Okay, time out. Let me jump in again. All right, you know what? Obviously. But then when I leave and there's a dude that's trash, you let him jump in right away. You know, at some point it's like, yo, if that's what we doing out here, like if you keeping a different energy, you won't keep the same energy, at least for the person who defiles and talks bad and does this or whatever. And by the way, you won't keep the same energy for the stuff that's good, right? Like there are brothers out here doing excellence. Why are we not making sure that they out here online? Oh, well, that's just what you're supposed to do. But the stuff that's not supposed to do, you make sure you talk about it. Where is that? You hear what I'm saying? Where is that? Where is that? Nobody else is doing that. We get mad. Well, white men are doing. Yeah, you know what? You're right. It's wrong for white men to be able to kill somebody in Buffalo or North Carolina or in New York or in Florida or wherever and keep on killing us, right? And keep telling everybody that, hey, you know, well, a white man, you know, you got to understand he's going through some mental health, blah, blah. That is wrong. You are absolutely right. It is wrong. But you know what they're doing? In their culture, they have it ingrained in their brain that says that, hey, we're going to protect him. That's why Elvis, who robbed black people of their music and took their money, that's why Elvis, who was a pedophile, he's still considered in their community what? To be the king. Now, I'm not saying that we should let people do that. I've just said earlier, right, that we should call it out. But what I'm saying is, dang, forget that. I'm not even talking about protecting a pedophile. I'm saying you got a husband that's doing well. Where are your posts about your great husband? Right, protect it. We got wives out here that submit to a mission and help us to do things that are greater. Where are videos about our wives? Thank you for the love. Appreciate it. Right? Where are these things? We don't keep the same energy. Right? When somebody positive comes around, let's make it to where they can't even get in. But when somebody negative is around, oh, take your time. Come on in. We got a place for you to be able to sit at the table. Right? Come on to the cookout. Right? Every girl likes a bad boy. I mean, we heard that stuff coming up. People still say the same thing. These dudes trash. And then you sit up there and say all men are trash. No, them dudes is trash. Right? Like that dude is trash. We got tons of wives out here who are amazing. And I'm not just talking about housewives. I'm talking about wives got businesses, take care of the children, you know, out here willing to struggle. Husband, I know wives, husbands in prisons, wrongly in prison, and been faithful to them 10, 15 years, y'all. Right? Even when they started taking away conjugal visits or whatever, it didn't matter. They still faithful. Doing whatever they got to do to make sure that they won't go out to another man, started businesses. I know women that have become millionaires when their husbands went to prison for nonsense they're not supposed to be, and because they want to make sure when their husband comes out, their husband feels like he can get into society and come right back in. And we don't talk nothing about that. All we do is say, see that girl over there, she don't like us. See that girl over there, she's talking about this and that or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of negativity. Where's the positivity? Where's the same energy? Where's the same energy? Right? That's why I talk about my mama the way I talk about my mama. My mama's the reason I preach, not my father. I'm gonna keep that same energy, right? If I can talk about my father and how sometimes he might have put his hands on me too much, I can definitely tell you that his work ethic is something that he instilled in me, to a place to where sometimes it might be too strong and I might need to learn how to rest. But I'm gonna talk about the positive. If I can talk about the negative, I can dance you at least bare minimum keep the same energy. If I can be mad at my wife because she washed my wallet or something and didn't take it out the pants, then I can keep the same energy and praise her when she's, makes a great meal. You hear what I'm saying? Like keep the same energy, because we can't be other people and we can't control other people. But when somebody does something and they therefore watch this, like I don't think we think about this. You can't control somebody, but by their own free will, they decided to be a blessing to you. Do you know how powerful that is? That's called sacrifice. They did something to bless you. They did something for you, not for themselves. They did it for you. They went out and got you a gift. Girl looks at the gift. I don't really like that anyways. I don't know. You should have asked me first. You should know enough about me to know you shouldn't have got that. Why would that guy buy you anything else? See, now watch this. Now you can say thanks, babe. You know what? Next time when you go, I really actually like this, but I love this. Matter of fact, I'll wear it. You don't even like it. But watch this. His sacrifice requires sacrifice. Watch that. See, watch how this works. This is husbands. When husbands see something is submits to the mission, not submits to the man, submits to the mission. Watch this. He knows that you don't like it, but you wear it a few times anyways. He knows you don't like it, but you wear it. Guess what happens? He says, if she'll do that for something, if she'll submit to the mission concerning something she don't even like, I need to figure out how to get her what she likes. And so he starts paying attention, starts asking questions, and start going, like, I don't like shopping, but if I go shopping with my wife, I know her style and I know things. You know why? Because she was just like, hey, can you just go with me? And I always used to be that guy that had an attitude, waiting. Hey, can I just sit down and wait outside, blah, blah, right? Like, I used to be that guy that just had an attitude every time we went. But now when we go, even if I don't like it, if she says, hey, babe, well, what do you think about this dress, these clothes and things like that? She's trying to show that she wants to wear something for me. So in my mind, I'm like, why would I not, participate in that, right? Why would I not honor that? So, okay, even though I don't like something, she's still asking for me something. So even in my not liking it, it's ultimately going to be for us anyways. Let me go ahead and come out of that and sacrifice. And so now she sees that, she goes, oh, okay, cool. And so guess what? If I want to go somewhere that she doesn't like, she'll go there and it's not the sucking teeth, this and that, or whatever. And she's trying to learn, ask questions. And then I see her do that. And so I say, okay, cool. Let's start going places that you like to forage and do this and blah, blah, and things like that. And then she says, cool, let's go ahead and check this out. You used to like movies and stuff. Well, we don't really do movies like that. But hey, every once in a while, let's go to a movie and let's actually go to a place and let's just go all out. Let's go to the place to where, the chairs move and the fall comes out. And, when it's raining, you feel splash and all that stuff. Like, like let's go full out. And we just, and it becomes something where it's tennis. It's just, hey, you know what? I'm a sacrifice for you. I'm a sacrifice for you. Oh, thank you. I'm a sacrifice for you. Oh, thank you. I'm a sacrifice for you. And here's the cool part about it is that it's not just sacrificing for each other. Peep game. When you sacrifice or when you do something for something one time, they sacrifice. Oh yeah, those theaters all over the place now. It used to just be a special experience. Now you can go, it costs you a little more, but or not a little more, a lot of more, but it's I think it's worth it, especially if you're doing something with the children and if you take them. But if you're into certain types of movies or whatever, it's a really cool experience. But yeah, but here's the thing. If you do it one time, you call it a sacrifice. If you do it one time, you call it a sacrifice. If you do it more than one time, you call that obedience. If you can sacrifice regularly, we call it obedience. That's why obedience is better than sacrifice. To obey means I'll do it all the time. And so I'm obedient. Even if I don't like it, I love it. See the difference between the two words? Like, I got to feel a certain way, this and that. But there are days I don't like myself, but I still got to love myself. There are days I don't like myself. I still have to love my wife. Just because I don't like my financial situation doesn't mean I don't have to take care of my wife and what she needs financially. Just because I like something doesn't mean that I should or shouldn't love it. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean that I should or shouldn't love it. Salah, right? And so when we're having these conversations, once again, we're outside of culture. We would say it like this back in the day: you out of pocket, right? You out of pocket. You had to sacrifice going to a baby shower. We have to foster communities that encourage healthy Black families. You said you definitely worn things that you didn't like but loved it because it was really the thought that counted. Yeah. And I'm telling you, like when you do that, then but you say, hey, you know what? When you do those things, you get to a place where you're like, hey, I'm not when you do those things, you get to a place where it's like, I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for? Like basically you're just saying like, look, like you're willing to sacrifice and sacrifice repeatedly, and then it becomes obedience, and you become obedient one to another, right? You become obedient one to another. And we're in a situation where we're, once again, we're so busy trying to be each other that of course we can't obey one another. And that's a cuss word right there. Obey a woman, obey a man. Yes. They try to say nowadays, you simping. In other words, you too simple. You simping. You simpleton. Yeah. You know what? It's simple for me. My wife, when she's feeling like she's secured, my marriage is my marriage, my family, the product that we make and give together, etc. It's way better. So yeah, I'll be a simp, if that's what you want to call it. Loving my wife, honoring my wife, respecting our women, making it personal. If somebody would disrespect my woman, yeah, I'll simp. You know, I'll be a simp. If that's what the qualification is for simping, then I'm all that, and then some. I'm all that with a bag of chips and some nacho cheese for the chips. You know, with some celery and some ranch dressing right next to that. I'll be all that. Right, dip me right in. Right, right. But you know what I'm saying? Like but we don't have that. And once again, we don't think about it. It's not our culture. We're not. Remember, we talked about this last night. If we say that it's a black community, but if black people don't own it, it's not black owned. Right? You know. Like we'll be like, oh, it's a black community, but if black people don't own it, it's not black owned, right? But we'll say this is Yah's will, but if Yah ain't about it, then it's not His will. We'll say I'm in a marriage, but if it's not Yah's marriage, it's not Yah's marriage. You're laughing at me, Sister Beverly, right? But if it's not Yah's marriage, it's not His marriage. A lot of us are in things called marriage, but don't even know that sex is marriage, marriage is sex. You're saying my marriage doesn't give me blah blah blah, but you're talking about the fruit. The marriage is when you became one. You had to be qualified to become one, and once you become one, now you're talking about how do we get the seed that came out of the marriage to produce fruit, not just the physical baby, but what about the things you're trying to manifest together? What about your business? What about your land? What about your opportunities? Yeah, words like simp and beta male and all that. Yeah, they put those there to undermine relationships and really to undermine men, to undermine what's really masculine, what's truly masculine, what's real. Think about it. People think that it's feminine to love their wives. People think that you're a simp because you would dare get married. Marriage is a new thing that just popped up. It's this new thing. It's this new thing. It's a contract. There never was any such thing as marriage. Man, go somewhere with that. But people don't. People are that unaware and trying to control things, and they just want it is what they want to do. They want to. You know what? Okay, if y'all got babies going away, go ahead. I'm gonna say something, and it's not gonna be very pastorally, but I want you to know. I want you to hear this harshly. I want you to hear this harshly. Okay, so it's gonna be harsh language. It's not cussing, but it's pretty daggone harsh. I would say this might be worse if you're a child listening. So if you want your children to go away for a second, then go away for a second. All right. You ready? All right, peep game. Y'all ready? We think that we're supposed to be able to stick our dick in whatever, right? And we're supposed to give up the pussy to whoever, right? Those terms that we use. You're supposed to stick your dick in whatever, open your legs to whomever, and that you're supposed to come out with nothing. Okay? Like that's what we think. We think that like somebody should be, we even just say it nonchalant, give up the D, where the D at? People putting in the DMs and the text, the eggplant and all that stuff. Like it's gotten to a place to where, you know, I mean, we talked about this earlier, right? Oversex, undervalued a couple days ago. Like we think we're supposed to put dick wherever we want. And we even say it like that. What good dick, this and that or whatever. What? But don't think about that somebody, the only person that's supposed to be able to give you that or receive that or whatever, they should be worthy. But you want to be married but don't want to train for marriage. Just real talk. All right, I'll turn it off. I know that's a little too much for some, right? The pastor dare say those words, right? But y'all be saying them words sometimes, so I'm gonna speak to you sometimes on your level, right? Yeshua sometimes had to tell people they were cursed and this and that, and call them hypocrites, and hypocrites was basically akin to cursing somebody. So sometimes we got to tell you about yourself, right? Because we ain't gonna act like nobody's never heard or used that word before, right? And some of us still using and saying those words. We just don't want to bring it down. We just want to act like we do in front of everybody else, right? But real talk, that's what some of us believe, is that we're supposed to be able to do all that. Give up everything and then say, right? Like not expect, not require, not say, hey, what is your portfolio, husband? Not even man, husband. What is your portfolio? What are you going to do for me? What is your vision? What is your vision for the kingdom? When did you get married to Yahweh? How are you married to Yahweh? What is the first word of the Bible? What is this? What is, like, we don't even do that. Hey, he fine. His credit score is acceptable. He might have good hair. That's a bonus. Okay, cool. We sleep with each other. We keep sleeping with each other, and then the honeymoon phase wears off, because that's what happens. We don't think that sex is marriage, marriage is sex. But when you have sex with somebody and you get in this relationship, there is a honeymoon process because you got married. So after the first couple of weeks, after the first couple of months, maybe you make it a couple months, maybe you're really blessed, you make it 6 months after y'all start having sex and stuff. Now it's time for you guys to start dealing with marriage, and nobody wants to have that conversation. But you already married, but you want to deal with marriage. I want to be it, but I want to control it, but I don't want to do what it takes. Why won't you love me? Why you ghost me, this and that? He never told you he was going to be with you forever. Why he just ghost me like that? Why? How he going to let me have sex with him and then he just ain't going to call me? Did he ever say that he was going to call you? Why won't he help me to take care of these children? Did he say he wanted children, let alone to take care of something that weren't his? Why she want me to do this and to do that? It's like, man, she want me to do all this. I told her she ain't my wife. Well, why you sleep with her? Right? A lot of people want to be you and control you, but then they don't even want to put in the work. Right? Where's the resume? Like, sisters, when's the last time? When's the next time a man starts talking about, man, you amazing, this and that, I want to be your husband, blah, blah. Like, ask him for the resume. And you know what the resume is. If y'all been with us long enough, we done gave you the resume. We done asked, we done gave you a bunch of questions. You got even with us having to make a new YouTube channel, a new TikTok channel, a new Facebook channel, right? All this stuff, or basically like go from because we actually have a Facebook channel that nobody even really goes to anymore. But we got the IG, all this stuff. You can go find plenty of things that we're like, yo, I'm gonna ask you these questions. I'm gonna write out a list. I'm gonna customize it for what the Most High has called me to be. And whatever your vision is, it better fit these things in. If not, hey, look, I just can't be your helpmeet. No offense. I just can't be your helpmeet. Well, why don't we go out? Let's go out on a date and see. No. I'm not going on a date to see more. I need these things now. Like, you got this thing twisted. You're looking for me to be dated and to go from date. Okay, let's go and have another date. Right? Let's go to another date and meet, and then maybe down the road. No, I need to know from the beginning before I waste that time. What do you meet these requirements? And by the way, then husbands should have the right to be able to look at that as a wife. But we're supposed to find a wife. So we're supposed to, if we find you and we have this feeling, we should be able to ask those questions of you too. And this is why people shouldn't get mad. If somebody says, hey, what do you bring to the table? Ladies, don't get upset, because he's asking, are you a wife? Now, a lot of these little boys are asking that question without knowing. But I'm saying, if you meet a husband, he should be able to ask. There's certain things he's going to require for his vision, and he's going to require to make sure your vision happens. And so he should be able to ask questions to see if you meet those requirements. But no, I don't want to do that. I want to be you. I want to control you. I want somebody that's going to do exactly what I want. Well, you're not going to be you're never going to be complete. Somebody hear my words. You can be mad at me, shut it down, never come back, be upset with us, frustrated, all that. It's cool. But you will leave hearing this. This seed will be planted. You ready? You are going to end up being somebody, right? You are going to end up being someone who will never be complete if you keep looking for somebody who's going to be everything you want them to be. What? That doesn't even make sense. Question: does Yahweh always do everything you want him to do? Of course he is. He's the lily. You go into the spiritual, right? He's the lily in the valley. He's the bright in the morning star. He's that everything. I can't imagine my life. I submit to him. Even the things that I don't want to happen. I'm still thankful that I went through oh, wait a minute. Right? Even the things that even when I thought it was painful and it hurt and it was frustrating and I thought I never do, and I used to shake my fist at the heavens, but then I realized, oh, I'm so thankful that he brought me through all these things. Oh, wait a minute, my heavenly husband sometimes going to make me have or have me go through things that I wouldn't have gone through because he makes me to lie down in green pastures. He has to sometimes forcibly even put me in a position where, yeah, this is on YouTube. All the rising ones are going to definitely be on YouTube. The evening ones, it takes a while. I end up putting the blast eventually for the evening ones, but all the rising ones are on YouTube, right? This is part 14 of the FAQ series, of the frequently asked questions series, right? When people talk a whole bunch of stuff, I think this is what, around the 2:05 or 2 minute mark, or 2 minute 2 hour mark, right? But people don't want to hear that. But oh yeah, the Most High, I love you no matter what happens. I trust you. I don't trust you though, husband. But I honor you. I honor the Most High in everything that I do. But I don't trust my husband like that. He might. And the Bible even says, how can you say that you love the Most High who you've never seen, but you treat your brother like trash and you see them every day? Like at some point, it just something ain't making sense. Oh, we don't want to hear that though. All men are trash. All these guys out here, all these men that I've dated, all this stuff, all these men out here, all these men I've been with, and you can't find no good men. Okay, why are you looking for men instead of husbands? If it makes you leave today, if you don't like what I'm saying, that's cool. We ain't had that many people on today. It's fine. I came on late because I deal with this back stuff and everything. That's fine. Whoever get this word is for. Even if you never come back for another one of these sessions, I promise you're going to leave with this on your heart. And you're going to have to deal with that. That stop looking for women, look for wives. Stop looking for men, look for husbands. Stop talking about that there's no woman out there that will submit. Yeah, because women don't submit. Wives do. And they don't submit to mess. They submit to missions. They don't submit to men. They submit to missions. If the man has on his resume the mission, then the woman is able to say, okay, I'll submit. Watch this. If you are going to, if you are looking, if you are going to put yourself out there to see if you're going to work a job for somebody, do you not read? Some of us don't. That's the problem. Some of us just go, whatever job it is, first job, I need a job, I'm just going to get it. I don't care how much it pays. I don't care what it is. I don't care what I have to do. They'll say, well, can you lift 50 pounds? Well, really, I can't lift 50 pounds like that every day. But you know what? I need a job. Right? And you just go get it. But usually what you're supposed to do is actually read what are the qualifications, read what you're supposed to do, see if it's something that matches your criteria, see if it's something that you can see yourself doing for a while, if you need it for a while, and then you go ahead. But a lot of people just go, I need a job. I need a job. Whatever job. I don't know. Can I find anything? Okay, Amazon. Then you're killing yourself. But you're like, yeah, but they pay a lot, so I'm gonna keep killing myself. But just because it pays doesn't mean it's not killing you. They're hiring at the Chinese place. They're giving $15 an hour. Yeah, but you ain't trying to be there, and you're gonna be the only person that's not speaking that, and you're gonna have some issue. Are you ready for those things? Can you be there? That's how people choose relationships. I want to have a baby. I'm coming up on 40. Okay, this guy at least he'll be around. Killing yourself. You said if you haven't known him for several years, how do you know if he's qualified to be a husband? If you haven't known him for several years, how do you know? I mean, if you've known him for 1 year, if you've known him for 70 years, how do you know if he's qualified? First of all, you start off with the standard. Who's the standard for all husbands? See, don't look at your husband, look at the mission. Don't look at the man. It's not some mansion, it's a mission. Look at the mission. What is the mission plan? All husbands, even though we might have a different part of the puzzle, we are all part of the same mission if we are who we say we are. If you're talking about this culture, this standard, right? What is the mission? Who's the first? Who is the husband of husbands? Right? If you're talking about how do you know, like you can be with somebody for 7 years and still not look for the standard. If you with somebody for 7 years and dating them and living with them and all this stuff, right? And they trying out the goods, or if it's just you living, y'all just going out with each other for 7 years and never do stuff. Like, what is the standard? What is the standard? Who is the standard husband? Like, who is the standard husband? When we say standard, see, this is how messed up it is. When we say standard, we think that we mean average. No, the standard is the flag. The standard is what waves above. Who is the one that we should look at and say, husband should be like that? You said you're just saying, see that person through their seasons before making that commitment. Okay, once again, even when you see that person, see this, right? And by the way, like, once again, that's what you can do. So even if somebody hasn't said they're your husband yet or whatever, it doesn't mean that you can't be studying as a wife, being like, okay, that's what a husband is. He's a husband. He's not blah, blah. So when you see him, all of a sudden you say, oh, okay, let me see. But if you don't know him, well, once again, what is the standard? Because even through their seasons, they could be lying to you. What is the standard that you need to know? What is the question you need to know? Right? Because people are very good at giving you what you need, even whatever. If the ultimate goal is, okay, I'm gonna make this person my wife, right? They'll give you what you need. But who is the husband of all husbands, right? We haven't even seen that in the comments yet. It's Yahweh, or if you want to go Yashva, he is our husband, because he's going to have to love you the same way that he loves him, that he loves us. That's why when you go down the aisle, right? You come in, all rise, comes down the aisle. Who gives this woman the way to be wed? I do. That's transference from father to somebody who's going to take the place of the father, somebody who's going to be in the stead of the father. And that father is giving it up in front of the preacher. The preacher represents the Most High. And so now the Most High is there with one child who he's loved. The father has now released his child, who the preacher or the person representing Elohim, who he's loved as well. The daughter comes together, and now her and the husband, the father takes his hand off, puts the hand of his daughter in the hand of this, right? So your father, hopefully, has been a standard as well. Your father, who you were raised with, hopefully your father was around. Hopefully you've had father figures. Hopefully you've had father figures that were in the word. Once again, it's a community thing. It's a cultural issue. We're looking to say, I'm going to do this and that. What are you comparing it to? What is the standard? He's not a standard within himself. The only person to have ever existed, the only spirit to have ever existed that is a standard within himself is Yahweh Elohim. You know why I can say that? Because how does somebody help me? How does Yahweh swear? You say you swear by the earth. You swear by on your mama's grave. You swear, cross your heart, hope to die. You swear on your life. Y'all, some of y'all even be doing crazy stuff like swearing your children's life. Who does Yahweh swear by? Right? Catch the principle. Catch his origin. Who does Yahweh stand by? Who does he swear by? Excuse me. The Bible says that Yahweh said that he swears by himself. Right? It says Yahweh swears by himself. Right? He said, I swear by myself. And he says, anybody who has me in him, he can swear by me. So now the question is whether you're together for 7 years or not. See, people will go through relationships and say, oh, he was a pretty good guy. Or, he's nice. Or he does this the whole time or whatever. There's a lot of pretty good guys that aren't trying to do things for the kingdom of heaven. Like, so if you're talking about a husband, not a man, a husband, not somebody who you think will become qualified to become a husband, but somebody who's a husband. Husbands have things from the jump. But once again, I get it, because we're in the land of our captivity. We don't look for that, and we don't have people that are trained for that, nor are we trying to say, hey, there's some kind of training. This is why a lot of people don't do marital coaching before they get married, because they figure, hey, I'll just be around this person and I don't need to be coaching. Hey, we just around each other, but you ain't gone through what you think you're going through yet. I can tell you right now, there's some couples right? And they'll probably be giving you some of their testimonies and things later on, do some of these things coming up. But there's some couples, I promise you, you think that you know what marriage is, or you've been through something, or you think just cheating or something is bad. There's some things a lot worse than cheating. And I'm not even talking about the husband or the wife has to be the one to blame. There's some stuff that happens, losing children and losing parents, and having people blame you for stuff that you didn't do, and starting a business and then the business crashes, or being homeless on the street together, things like that. Like you talking about those seasons and stuff. You need to have a husband before. You don't stop waiting for him to qualify himself. He needs to be qualified before you meet him. This is why stop waiting for her to qualify herself. She got to be qualified before you meet her. That's the reason why you talk about stuff like, can you meet his parents? That's why you need to figure out stuff as far as like, oh, okay, well, let me see what your vision plan is. Right? If it takes him 7 years to put together a vision plan, he ain't trained yet. Right? Like people might not want to hear that, but that's real. If it's going to take him 7 years to put together a vision plan, right? His training should be putting together the vision plan from the time that he gets in his father's presence, bare minimum. And that's what at age 7. That's how we raise. By age 7, he's already his father's apprentice. Whatever daddy does, he does. So he's already looking at vision. Vision's not a new concept for him. The problem is that we don't even think about vision. Why would we think about vision if we don't even think that he's supposed to be a husband yet? Like vision should be the first question that you ask. Before we talk about the dating and all that, vision should be the very first question. Where are you headed? I mean, I would possibly put the Most High in his relationship too. But first things first, like where are you headed? Where are you going? Because if I'm coming with you, I need to go. I need to know the directions, right? I mean, that should be part of the package, right? Where are you going? Yeah, being qualified. People get with somebody and go through 20-year relationships and you still ain't qualified. All right, same thing you make you. You gotta people get in these relationships still ain't qualified. Okay, question, right? Even when we talk about I've said this over and over again, but question. When you read about the Proverbs 31 woman, right? You read about the Proverbs 31 woman, what is that even talking about? What's the context of that? Do you even know? Because really the Proverbs 31 woman, as much as we use it for as many women events as possible, it's not even written to women. Would that shock you? Would that surprise you? The Proverbs 31 is not even written to women. It's something women should know, but it's not even written to women. It's written for men. Did you know that? That's why we say read your Bible, it'll bless you. It's not even written to a woman. It's written, or I mean, you could say it's written to everybody in a sense, but this is the context of it. This is the context of it. But women will hear this more than men. See what I'm saying? Like this is the training we're missing. Like women get that more than men. But men don't even know what the Proverbs 31 woman is. They just know it enough to be able to tell you why you should shut up and submit, right? Like the guy who came on earlier was just saying, y'all be quiet and submit, and a man shouldn't have to do anything, blah blah blah, right? Saying it without saying it. But read the beginning of Proverbs. First of all, read the beginning of Proverbs. This is David telling you what he learned from his daddy. He didn't know how to be a king and all that. He had a dream. He said, I don't know to go in and out as David did or whatever. He said, don't give me gold or anything else. Just give me wisdom. The Most High says, man, you know what? Since you asked for that, blah, blah, right? I'll make you the wisest man to ever live, and I'll give you all the gold and the land and all this stuff. You'll be wealthy. Right? Finishes that up, and then right and starts leading. Now, eventually, he writes Proverbs. Proverbs is going to be about wisdom and instruction and all these, and talking about what his daddy taught him. In Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, he gets the instruction of his father and the law of his mother and all these things. And he's telling you, hey, this is what I'm telling you as a wise man who learned from a wise father who learned from the wisest Alaham and all these things. And then he gets to Proverbs 31, and he's talking about a story his father David would have told him. And David basically teaching Solomon, his son, about Yeah, amen. Thank you, King Lemuel. And basically that King Lemuel's mother told him what it was that he needed in order to have a wife. So King Lemuel's mother is out there talking about, hey, this is what look, I'm a queen. So I've been a wife of a king, and you're a king. So in order for you to be a strong king, you're going to need a wife, not a woman, a wife. And so she starts talking about all these things that she's going to need. Then you get to Proverbs 31:10 and starts talking about how precious she is. She's more valuable or precious than rubies. She has her own business. She makes her husband's name great. She has this and that, all these things, right? It starts talking about all these things, how she can make clothes and all this. But it was a man, David. So this is what it is. King David, told his story to King Solomon. The story is supposed to be a mother telling her son what a wife is. But there are more women that identify with Proverbs 31 than men. Yeah, mother queen. Yeah, yeah, training her son to what she should be looking for the kingdom. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Proverbs 31. You look at it, it tells you straight up. That's the context of it. So, as a father telling his son about how women have taught us how to be, or women have taught us what to look out for in wives. That's what the story is. The context is a father has told his son a story about what women have taught us, right? That's what the story is. Right. So we want to be, so watch this. We want to be something, like ladies might want to be wives, but they're using, now I'm not saying that that's a bad criteria, right? Because that's a wife telling her son who is king, this is what your wife needs to be in order to help you to enhance what's going on. Right. But how many husbands actually read that story? How many men's conferences has there been where we've talked about Proverbs 31? Right. Read your Bible. It'll bless you. I'm not making that up. It's right there in there, right? It's right there, but we don't what? We don't read it. We just started at verse 10 because that's where everybody says. That's where you got to start. Start at verse 10. Start at verse 10. That's all we do. Right? Proverbs 31, verse 1. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. His mother was a prophet. Women shouldn't usurp any authority over men. His mother was a prophet. She told her son, this is what you need to do, right? When people say this stuff, we don't, that's why you got to get in your culture and stop listening to people. We don't have, misogyny and stuff like that. We don't have male chauvinism, right? Here we go. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him, what, my son, and what the son of my womb, and what the son of my vows. I'm going to protect you. You are my son. You're of my womb. I vowed to be able to give you something, right? Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Don't give your strength to women, nor don't give your ways. Don't be like Solomon ended up being like, but don't give your ways to that which destroyeth kings. If you get with the wrong woman, they destroy kings. All right, watch this. Verse 4. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor princes strong drink. So don't get drunk, right? If you're around somebody, don't get with a woman while you're drunk. You see what I'm saying? Like we stay away from these conversations, and your Bible's all up on it. Like, how many times do we not even talk about drunkenness? We talk about drunkenness like bad, bad, bad. But what do we talk about? Hey, look, if you happen to be drunk or in the wrong place, wrong time, something like that, hey, be careful what happens when you're drunk. Right? So it is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor princes strong drink. Verse 5. Lest they drink and forget the law. Husbands, you'll mess around when you get drunk and you mess with the wrong woman because you won't even see if she's about the law, and you will forget the law. Exactly. Don't get caught out of your position, right? So watch this. And pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. Verse 6. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish. If you're ready to die, right? Especially as a king. If you're ready to die, if you're ready to make a decision about marriage and stuff, if you're ready to die through this marriage, if you're ready to live a shorter life, if you're ready to get into some wars that you don't need to get into, marry a woman instead of a wife and be in a position to where you want strong drink, right? So don't drink it, especially when you don't get drunk, especially if you're dealing with don't go to the club and then talk about you can't find no good woman, right? You're not even able to think right. You said your son was not being nice to your girlfriend in front of you. You checked him and he was shocked. Oh, amen. All right. Watch this. So give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. So somebody who's depressed, understand that that's who you're dealing with, right? Don't be in a depressed situation where somebody comes in, or don't be right and they mess with your heart, or don't be so strong in your drink. Don't be so drunk. Don't be so not sober minded. It's not just talking about only drinking alcohol. Remember, to be sober minded, all this stuff. It's talking about to be vigilant, to be clear, to be able to make proper decisions. Put yourself in a place where you can do proper decisions. Verse 7: let him drink and forget his poverty and remember his misery no more. So it seems like it's a good thing. Hey, man, I don't have no poverty and this and that. But hey, if you don't deal with that, you're not dealing with the problem. Remember, we talked about pain is important. Verse 8: open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. These are things you're going to have to do as a king. Now, somebody says, well, I haven't still seen what they're talking about with marriage, right? But she started off, she's prophesying. She's saying these are the things you're going to have to do. These things you're going to check yourself on. Be ready. Now, why is all that important? Why? Because now verse 10. See, because you're going to have to speak for the dumb. You're going to speak up for people who can't speak up for themselves. You're going to have to judge righteously. You're going to have to make sure that you plead the cause for the poor and the needy. So don't ignore poverty. Don't try to drink yourself out of where you don't think about bad times, poverty, things like that, right? So you're gonna have to take care of these things, right? Why? So why is all that important? Why is this mother prophesying this over her son? Why is this queen who was married to a king saying to her son that is now king, this is what you need to do and be aware of? Why? Who can find a virtuous woman? Remember the word virtue, virtus, it actually means how you represent somebody in the Latin, in the Greek. So who can find a virtuous woman? That virtuous woman is a wife. Remember, by the way, in Hebrew, the word for woman is a term of endearment. It's one of the highest things you can call. So in our culture, a woman is just, woman, this and that, blah, blah. But a woman in our culture technically is one of the highest things you can be. And we're trying to take one of the highest things you can be as a woman and even find a wife out of that. So not just find one of the highest things you can be, but find somebody who then takes that to the next level. So who can find this virtuous woman or this wife? For her price is far above rubies, right? Whose price? Somebody who's a virtuous woman who can represent what the king is doing as well as make sure she can do her own thing. We're going to read some of those things, right? But above her, or not above her per se, but the mission, the person that's in the position to make sure the mission is being taken care of is this king. And this king has to do all these things we just read, verses 1-9. Now, verse 10, hey, if you're going to complete it, who can find a virtuous woman? It's almost hard to. Can you imagine back then, it was easier to talk about this stuff. Now, who can really find a virtuous woman? Right? Like, who can really find a virtuous woman nowadays? Who can find somebody who's going to help somebody to build kingdom? Like back then, this is the conversation. Once again, we just showed this. This is a queen who is also a prophet who is talking to a king about somebody that will become his queen. Alaikum salam. Right? This is a queen who is also a prophet, who is a virtuous woman herself, who is a wife herself, talking to her son, who is now a king, who needs a wife himself. And she's telling him all the stuff you're going to do, but you're not going to do it without what? A virtuous woman. Right? And it says her price is far above rubies. If somebody out there twerking, what's her price? If somebody says, I'll lay down with you as long as you pay my bills, what's her price? right? Old story, right? And forgive me, but old story goes like this. There's a guy, right? And he meets a girl in a bar, right? He meets. So there's a guy. He meets a girl at the bar. He sees a girl at the bar. He likes the girl a lot. He walks up to the girl. He says, "Hey, you're very beautiful. Um, would you mind, going up to my room with me? Um, I would, and if I'll give you $1 million to do it." She says yes. She's down for it. No question. Yeah, yeah, yes, I will do that. Right? He shows her the million, everything. All right. Then she gets up to the room, right? And he says, or then they're getting ready to go up to the room or whatever. And he says, "You know what? I know you were willing to come into in the room for $1 million. What if I only gave you, um, you know, $100? Would you still go with me?" She slaps him and she says, what do you think of me, as some kind of prostitute?" And he says, "Well, I think we already established that downstairs. Now we're just haggling over prices." And that sounds really bad, but that's real. Like, what is your value? You're more than rubies. Don't get caught up in he got the credit and blah blah and this and that or whatever. That's fine because you need security. He should be able to have a work, but don't get caught up in that because once again, the word, I won't go back into the word usage that I was using earlier, but the things that you have, right? Well, the thing that you have, right? The womb that you have, the vagina that you have, the ability to carry a seed and stuff that you have is more priceless than anything you can buy. Your price is far above rubies if you are a virtuous woman. But a lot of people just like, oh, okay, hey, $1 million, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And then these brothers who realize that you will do something for a price. See, oh, we coming up on time, right? We might not finish the rest of this verse. That thing hit me in my spirit. If somebody realizes you'll do something for a price, then that's when they haggle. Hallelujah. I don't know if somebody got that, right? Once again, hey, will you go to the room with me for $1 million? Yes. Get up to the room. Will you still come in if I only give you 100? You slap him in the face. You think I'm a prostitute? Well, we kind of established that. We're just haggling for prices at this point, right? Like the second somebody realizes that you will move your values based off of the fact that you think that you are connected to a price, is the second that person is no longer worthy. And the second, really, you are no longer worthy. If you come to a man and you've already got, see, that's why I'm saying in your resume, there are certain things that they come with you. That's what I'm saying. Like, why is it that you don't have a resume? Somebody who's with you 7, 8, 9, 10 years, right? Somebody said you got to be early. We're talking about 7 years. And somebody's with you for 7 years. And they already getting what they want and everything like that. They already have the marriage. So why would you expect that person will get married or honor, he's going to become different when you get married? I got to see him through the seasons and this and that. He is pretty much who he is. He never even had to change. He never even had to present a resume to stay with you, to get with you. All he had to do was ask you out on a date. What was the price of the date? What was the value of that? Got a bird like right next to us. Come on, what was the value of that date? Some of y'all first date wasn't even worth more than $25. Birds of praising. Amen. Right? What's the value of that? What is the value of that date? It's not about how much it costs in the physical. It's about what are your desires? What is it that you see? Ladies, you have all the power in the beginning. You have all of it. You hear what I'm saying? Because you get to be the one. Look, he finds a wife and he has to present his case. You get to tell him if what he presents is worthy or not. But once again, you got to study. You said a two piece. Oh wow, you know. But I'm just saying, a lot of us been there, done that. Look, there's some women out there. What's the price? Shoot, give me 10, 20 bucks so I can go ahead and get a hit. I mean, some people, crack has gotten you into relationships, and he can control you because you came with a price. There is no human being that has a price attached to it. That's one of the most sick things. My wife says that to me all the time, and she's absolutely right. One of the sickest things to ever exist is that people think that they have a price attached. Today she said it like this. She said one of the sickest things to ever exist is when people say that you're average or you're a 10 or you're a 5 or to rate people like that. It's one of the worst things you can do. It's one of the worst things you can do. But a lot of people come with a price. Don't come with a price. Be priceless. When you put your stuff down there, right? Right? And we really got to get ready to take our leave, right? But I feel like the Holy Spirit really wanted us to sit in this for a minute. I'm trying to just be obedient. I know that y'all know I'm long-winded and stuff anyways all the time, right? But I really am trying to stop. But this, like, look, a lot of guys, when they come to you, this is what they do. They give you this. They give you this. It's blank. It's nothing, right? And we go, well, okay, I guess I'll go out on a date with him. And okay, I went out on a date. And after the date, I found out that he talked nice. I went out on a date. I found out he talks nice. So I guess I can go out on another date. I like the discussion. That's reality, right? Like, so you talk a little bit, but you don't ask question, then we go out on another date, find out, oh, okay. And some people ain't even looking for this stuff. And by the way, I ain't mad. I'm talking about all of this is off because we ain't supposed to. But then he comes up with the next one, and you like, oh, okay. I guess he got good credit. That's a plus, right? You go out on another date. You come back. Like, this is what happens. This is his resume building. This is what we accept, right? Come back. Well, I guess he said, I guess he likes me because he said, I'm amazing. Like this becomes the resume. This becomes what people like, and then so if we keep doing this over and over again for years and keep going on these dates, right? And keep writing stuff out and doing all this stuff and stuff that don't matter. And then finally we get to the end and we go, ah, and then we say, I'm so excited because he proposed. Now, you're doing that over years. Are you talking about, oh, I'm just gathering information? Now, question. Here's my question. When people say, oh, I need to make sure I go out on a date for the long time and this and that or whatever. Besides the fact that we can say, show me in the Bible where that was actually ever necessary. That somebody needed to figure out who they wanted to marry and it took them 7, 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, right? However, what if somebody came to you with these things on the list, right? And give me a second. Right? I want to show you a resume. And obviously these are short, right? And this is just examples. But like we look for that to happen over years, but we don't want people to give off all these things up front. And by the way, those things, even if they give you those things up front, those things, they don't really tell you nothing about them, right? But what about if I showed you something that had a little more on there? Right? You're gonna be surprised at just simply having this stuff that somebody should be required to give you. like, and I'm not even, I really want to write out a really long one. I don't have enough time, right, to come up with all the stuff that I like to put on there. But you know, but these are just a few things that if we just required them, we would have a lot of different things. I mean, I'm probably end up putting a long list anyways, right? um, you all these things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm gonna just leave it. So you see on the bottom, on the one I had before, all these different things had to come that really didn't matter before we even got to marriage, right? Um, sorry, I'm writing the last couple things. All right. So all the stuff that I just showed, right? Imagine if the list looked a little different, and you might have to take screenshots. If you're on Facebook, it's going to show up backwards. I apologize. I really can't do but too much about that. But if you want to take a screenshot or go back and look at the recording, rewind some to this point that we are now, right? If you're on YouTube, I want to take a screenshot, right? But it looks completely different. If you're on TikTok, we do a little bit too. If you want to take a screenshot, leave it up for a few more seconds on YouTube, and then I'm put it up on TikTok. Now, just look at this list. And then once again, it's still small, right? But if it came to you, right, let me read some of this stuff. I love Yahweh. I want to talk about my love for the Most High. I have vision. Here's my vision plan. Here's the things that I want to do. I want to know your vision because I want to see if our visions are compatible, right? I'm Yashliel. I know who I am. I know what the Bible says, where I'm grafted in. I realize and recognize those things, right? Here's my relationship with Yahweh. Not only do I love him, these are the acts that I do, but now here's my relationship. Here's how I walk with them in the cool of the day. Here's my mission. This is how I'm going to feed my family. This is how I'm going to feed my people. This is how I'm going to make sure that we learn the word together, things like that, right? Here's my qualifications as a husband, right? I'm qualified to do this, that, or whatever. I know I'm qualified because I've hung around husbands. I was trained by a husband, etc. Here's what a wife is. This is what I intend to make sure that I do as a wife, to make sure that I take care of you because these are what wives need, right? And then at the bottom, right, consider our union. Consider if we're compatible. These are the things that I give you. You hear what I'm saying, right? That should be your criteria. But we do it the other way that we just showed, right? We don't have all that. We don't have all those things. We do it the other way. We just go, oh, okay, we'll hang out, we'll do this. Just tell me this. Oh, okay, you like that. Oh, okay, you like baseball. Oh, okay, you do this, right? Like that's what we and then we go, but there ain't no good man, right? You should require him to show you he's a good man, if that's what you want to call it. He should be required to show you. I can't find a good man. Why don't you have requirements that force? They don't just hire you just because you got to show that you're worthy. And then they have to look at it and say, do you work for us? Even if you're worthy, you might be qualified, but you're not necessarily what we want. Right. And once again, he should be able to ask you. He was even in the qualifications. He should be able to ask you about your vision. He should be able to ask you about your vision. He should be able to ask you about what's going on with you. He should be able to ask real questions, ladies. Don't get upset at the man if he asks. But men don't ask, they assume. That's the problem, right? But if a man were to ask you, okay, so you have children and you got a baby daddy and this and that or whatever, like how would we be able to work like that if I need to be able to have you to honor what I'm saying because it's something the Most High is telling us to do, but are you in a position to where you think that your children be able to listen? A lot of women be offended by that, but that's an excellent question. Same thing, vice versa. You know, he writes down on his list, "Hey, I have children." You should be able to ask a question like, "Well, how is they going to deal with the fact that they have another mother?" And are you dealing with stuff to where it's you and her don't get along? And if you and her don't get along, do you and the children really get along? If you and the children don't get along, how are myself and them going to get along? Like, those are excellent questions. You said being qualified doesn't mean you're hardworking. A husband would be in his work. If he's not in his work, then he's not qualified. See, we're talking about culturally. See, culturally, once again, how do you raise men, or how do you raise up, proper males in our culture? First 3 years, you teach him he's a boy. Next 3 years, you weed him away from mother. The 3 years after that, he's his father's apprentice. Next 3 years after that, he's learning, getting extreme education on certain things, culturally speaking. Next 3 years after that, you make sure you teach him he's a man. That's when that bar mitzvah or that bar mitzvah comes into place. Next 3 years after that, you teach him that how to be a husband. Next year, 3 years after that, you teach him how to be a father. You give him his inheritance after that, and you say, "Hey, go get your own land and everything." And when you find a wife, bring those things, bring her back to me or whatever. Let's see if she's qualified. Let's see if you're qualified. Let's meet their parents, all these different things. Okay, cool. She's going to go away, prepare herself for you. While she's doing that, come back to our property that we have as a whole. Keep your property you got out there. Come back to our property and build on what's called a mansion. Add on to what we already have and build on a house, add it to our house on the land, so that we keep the wealth and stuff together, and that we can help to make sure we take care of you while you guys are helping to take care of us, build your family and stuff. Now y'all got multiple properties. We building and building and building. You're talking about culture. It's a different cultural aspect. See, in our culture, you're already supposed to be in your work. Before you go find a wife, you're supposed to already doing what your dad does. You're supposed to be an apprentice. That's why Solomon's on YouTube. He's not on YouTube just because. He's on YouTube, and he's going to show up to more videos soon when he's about to turn 7. When he turns 7, whatever daddy does, you got to do it. Guess what? You're going to have to get up. I know you're used to sleeping in this and that. You better get up, because you're going to have to talk to the people. You're going to have to read. And at first, he's probably going to be getting up, and he's going to be like this, on the side. He might not even show up in the picture sometimes because he'll be laid out, but he's going to get up out of bed. And he's going to continue to do what dad does. Right? That's how you build it up. It's a different mindset. It's a different context. So he's going to be hearing this stuff. He's going to be talking about this stuff. He's going to have comments to make. At 7 years old, he's going to be teaching, and you're going to hear his voice, and you're going to see him doing things. At 7, he's going to start that process. Right? So he's already a prince. He's already getting certain things. But at 7, you belong to dad. Bump all the other stuff. Bump what you thought. Right? At 7, you belong to me. Whatever I say, we're going to get up and do. If I exercise, you exercise like that. If I speak, you speak like that. Right? If I travel by car, you travel by car like that. If I fly, you fly. There won't be one thing that I do that he won't be a part of, at least ages 7 through 9. Because he belongs to me. If I'm talking to somebody about something outside of, there might be certain things he's not old enough to handle. But if we're doing coaching and stuff, I might have to ask somebody, "Hey, my son's in training. Is it all right if he hears some of these things that we're going to talk about?" Like, we wait for somebody to become 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, 21 years old. Hey, make sure you go to college first, and then get your master's, and then get your doctorate, and then get your career. And then maybe you can start thinking about a husband or what. No. Like, we take care of that in house. So when you find a wife, you'll know she's a wife. And you'll know how to put Proverbs 18, 21 and 22 together. You said there's good doctors and bad doctors. They all have licenses. Yeah, but that doesn't mean they qualify for anything. You know what qualifies you for a license? I wouldn't put that up against what we're talking about. See, once again, you're talking about a different culture. I wouldn't put that up against that. There are doctors out there that have licenses, sure. Right. But the doctors out there that have licenses, they go to different colleges, don't they? They go through different trainings. So that college is responsible for whatever they get. But by the way, that's why some of the best colleges you go to, they actually aren't, what's the word I'm looking for? Not licensed, but accredited. Some of the best schools in the world are the non-accredited schools, because the non-accredited schools don't have to go by a standard that actually tells them to be lower. See, to get a marriage license, all you got to do is basically, have a penis and have a vagina. Or nowadays have a penis and a vagina. But that's all you got to do to be qualified. And you have to consummate it in order for it to be considered legal. If you don't consummate it, you can get a divorce or have it annulled. It's like it never happened. Right? That's a different standard. That's a different standard. But yeah, if you go to Harvard, Harvard's not accredited because they don't want to lower their standard. Why would I have my son lower his standard and get married? By the way, even when my son gets married, legally he doesn't have to go through the state. He can just write a contract with his wife. And that contract is actually stronger than the contract he have with the state. And if either one of them breaks that contract, right, especially because it'll be based off of biblical law and we'll have Black's Law Dictionary terms and things like that in it, when they break that if anybody does break that contract, then it's actually going to be taking care of what needs to happen, and they don't have to worry about going to the state because it'll already be signed off. Anybody that I marry, I tell them, if they want to go to the state, fine. But I used to do, back in the day, hey, get married to the state first before we even have the real one, because a lot of people, freak out about stuff and everything. But now it's like, shoot, like we're going to write out a contract. It's legal. And we're going to make sure that we say all the things that we will and won't do in this contract or whatever. And if somebody does something that's outside of the word, we have ways of dealing with it. We're also going to write a marriage constitution, right, that you can carry around with you, and make sure that you guys, even before you go through, do your marital training, we're going to talk about things as far as, hey, this is her personality. This is his personality. If something happens, I need this much space. If we need to get in something that I know is going to be tense, I'm going to come and ask you, is it okay if I have permission to do blah, blah, this and that or whatever, right? So you can have licenses. All doctors have licenses, and you can have a good doctor or a bad doctor, but that license is based off of something where they all have to meet pretty much the same criteria. And by the way, even though a doctor has a license, there's still something that supersedes the license, right? Don't get me started, because I ain't trying to get kicked off, but don't get me started like about the Nuremberg Code and all that stuff. Like, you don't have to listen to somebody just because they're a doctor. It don't matter what their license is. There's something that supersedes it. Right? It's like you can have a driver's license, but a driver's license, you don't have to have a driver's license to travel by car, because traveling and driving are two different things. Driving means that you drive for somebody that says that they give you permission to drive. Traveling means that you're doing what Yah told you can do. Like, that's law legally. You don't have to have a driver's license, but people go get one. It's a minimum standard, It's a very minimal standard. And a lot of us are going by, as we talked about with that example today, right? A lot of us are going by very minimal standards. Sometimes our standard is just, I'm showing up. Hey, beautiful, you look nice. Would you like to go out on a date? He just gave you a resume. A lot of girls go, oh, you would give me a resume? Thank you so much. Let's go. Right? Like, that's basically. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not trying to laugh, because I've dated before, right? So I'm in this too. I'm just saying, like, that's basically what it is. Like, I'm not gonna tell you anything about myself, but you look beautiful. Would you like to go out? And you go, oh, somebody noticed that I look beautiful. I won't even care to see that this is empty. Let's just go ahead and make this work. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say, like, look, once again, I was in a dating game too. I wasn't that good at it, probably because I realized that some of it's trash, right? But I'm just keep it 100 with you. Like, that's not sufficient. And at least have something on there. At least even a child wouldn't just give you something blank. They'd have enough sense to at least do something like this. At least show something. Like, even a child would be like, hey, I'm gonna give you something on the paper, right? At least something's gonna be on there, and they give it to you, and you put it on the refrigerator, right? You put it on the refrigerator. You say, oh, that's so beautiful. Even if you think it's not, you'd be like, oh, that's so beautiful. But here comes a grown man, and he just go, here you go. And you're like, oh, that's so beautiful. I'm gonna put that right on the refrigerator. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it right next to my child's drawing. And in the same way that I like to look at my child's drawing, I can't wait to be able to go out on a date with somebody that I know absolutely nothing about. Not because they're gonna tell me, because once again, they're gonna tell me one thing on a date, and then I'm gonna take that home, and I'm gonna just say, oh, see, I know one more thing about them. Versus when they come to you, why would you not require they give you as much as you can? I just don't. I mean, I don't know. I guess when you're out of the system for a minute, this stuff makes less and less sense to you. So I apologize. I hope I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings, because I started laughing, and I feel like the Holy Spirit's convicted me a little bit. So I apologize. Like, I shouldn't. I'm not trying to laugh at somebody. I'm just saying, like, when you start realizing what this stuff is, you start seeing it's kind of ridiculous. We were taught that makes so much sense, that you're supposed to go out with somebody that you know nothing about, and then somebody will say, well, you should be with them for 7 years so you know more. But all they're doing is just giving you peace, by piece. And then sometimes they don't even give you pieces anymore. You have to keep digging, and you have to keep kneading, and you have to keep like pressing. And you have to keep saying, give me more. What are you thinking? What are you doing? Will you listen? Blah, blah. You got to keep fighting and fighting and fighting, you know. And it's like at some point you're like, look, man, this person should have gave you everything. Can I tell you something else that's really interesting that people don't think about? Man, may I just say one more thing? I know we're above time. This just amen. Holy Spirit said make it quick. Okay. Look, one last thing and then we out. Have you ever thought about the fact that most people, not all, but a lot of people are going to be almost as fully formed because of the system they're brought up in? A lot of them are going to be fully formed pretty much 18 to 21 years old. Have you ever thought about the fact that most people that you've met, even if they have, you know, good jobs and stuff like that or whatever, most of them are no more mature than they were when they graduated high school? Most of them, a lot of them, right? Just real talk. A lot of these people that we're talking about and dealing with, they are not going to ever be any bigger than what they did in high school. You got some people on Facebook right now that are parents and everything. It really ain't no more mature, right? Keep it real. Keep it 100. There's some people that you can think of right now. You already thinking of 10 people. They ain't take you that long. Some of you already came up with 10 names or 10 faces that you can think of and be like, yeah, they kind of the same way they've always been, right? And so a lot of people ain't really trying to mature constantly and consistently, right? So a lot of us are sitting up there talking about I'm gonna be with somebody for 10 years, 7 years, 5-year relationship, and real talk, they're probably going to be fully, you know, I wouldn't say they'd be fully formed, especially if you're looking for a husband. But real talk, if they're giving you high school aspirations and that's all they have, and they have no vision plan, they have no mission to get better, they're not looking at doing those things. Guess what? Like if they don't have a vision to become mature, it's going to be pretty difficult for people to mature because only a couple things going to force you to mature. Either you're going to mature, right? But that's not forcing you to mature. Either the Most High is going to force you to mature, and you may or may not want to be around for when that happens because that could be crazy too, or they're going to have to go through hell that causes them to mature. And I don't know if you want to go through that either. You might as well find a person that says, I want to mature because it's part of my mission. I'm just saying, right? You might want to get with somebody that wants to mature because it's part of their mission plan. They've already got this written down and they already ready to go in. You said, do I understand simple? More doctors, more sick people need to satisfy greed of doctors. Do I understand simple? I don't comprehend. Is this, Nico, if you can help me out? Is this a agreement, disagreement, a slight? I mean, either way, it's cool. I just don't comprehend. Do I understand? Are you saying like, do you understand it simple? Are you saying that I'm simple? I don't understand. Are you saying I don't comprehend. More doctors need more sick people. I don't get it. Am I trying to create sick people and because I need out of my greed? I don't recognize. Or are you talking about like that's the reason why people don't stay married? Anyways, I think I remember to recognize the name, so I don't want to automatically assume it's something on here because I think you've been on here before and probably should know the place that we're coming from. But yeah, you got to recognize at the end of the day that people are trying to be stuff that they're who they're not, and people are trying to control people who they're not. And it's just not something. Not only is it not a great look, it's not something that you really qualified to do. So you know, do what you do. Thank you so much for being on. We appreciate you. I give all honor and praise to the Most High. We give all honor and praise to the Most High for my wife. Once again, the honor of mine. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest. I'm sorry, I thought it was supposed to rain today, so that's why I was under here. We didn't get to see some of the trees and stuff. But thank you for being with us today. Again, we appreciate you guys. We honor the King, Queen, and each and every one of you. And I'm checking my wife on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. Those who are in Chi-Town will be there 27th, 28th. Those in the D will be there 29th and the 30th. We'll be meeting with some people on the way as well. And I'll try to reach out to you guys today to try to work out these times in my head. and make sure that you guys are aware of where we're at, especially because of the travel and time like that and stuff like that. Might have to be more of around the time of the rising. Um, oh, actually, you know what I just realized? We have to see because of the live and everything too, huh? Okay, well, we might just have to say hello to each other, I guess, while I'm on the live. I don't know how it's gonna, or we might just have to have Thursday rising off, or maybe have somebody else do something on another. Yeah, we might have to have somebody step up and do a live session on another platform. We might have to have some you guys go to another platform on Thursday. Hmm. I just realized because or where we're gonna be, how we're gonna be traveling, and we're supposed to meet up with people on our way. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, we have to figure that out. Okay, y'all, we'll try to have something together for you guys by tonight because tomorrow we have off. Yeah. Okay. So we try to figure out something by tonight. Um, anyway, thank you guys. We appreciate the King Queen in each and every one of you. Don't forget June 5th is coming up. We're going to be on Zoom for that. There's going to be our another holy day coming up, Shabbat. Um, also too, for our virtual Omer box um, for today. Let's see. We have what was it? Oh yeah. Um, So I guess, well, really today we want to try and get out of controlling others. We're putting our control of others in the Omer box. We're going to release that and let that go. All right. So we're going to put our control of others in there for today. So, but thank you all. We appreciate you. I'm gonna go ahead and take my leave, get a few things done. Those who are Patreon members will be back on Patreon only, but we'll be back on 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time. Those that want to join up at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time, feel free to join us there. We thank you so much. We appreciate you. Oh, wow. Yeah. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the gifts, super chats. Those who want to do a lot of stuff. Those who want more information on things we've been talking about too. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, remember, just look in the description with the video. If you happen to look at or listen to the podcast, just look for the description with the episode. If you're on TikTok, just go to where our main page where it says website, click on that. That's our link tree. As soon as you click on that link tree, it'll take you to a bunch of places you can get better, more information from us. And we look forward to being able to do a lot of great things with you. So thank you. We honor you. We appreciate you. I'll try to have something together for this for the evening. Because I just realized like I probably might not be able to do the live on Thursday rising. So we'll try to have something for you this evening. I'll try to maybe put something on the Google Calendar. I'm gonna have to ask who I have in mind who just came across my spirit, see if we can get something together for them. We'll try. We might have to try and just have Thursday where we meet up on somebody else's platform, which is great because maybe we can get some numbers up for somebody else too. It's not just about me. So there was somebody was just bringing that out. We had the early risers Bible study session. Minister Tamara did a great, was great on that as always. And, we started talking about different things and people were talking about that others are going to have to step up. And this is one of those last minute things, but since we have better stuff in place, we can probably make that happen pretty easily. So we're excited, we're thankful, grateful. Classes have started. If you want to take the classes, feel free. Once again, all that stuff's in the link tree. Classes, if you want to give donations, if you want to give offering, if you want to give time, whatever it is, if you want to give your time, talent, effort, energy, resources, even prayers, etc. If you just want to do what we do and do it within your own whatever, your own self. If you just want to do a one-on-one life coaching, marital coaching, whatever it is, get in contact with us. We'd love to be able to talk to you and have some further conversation. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much. We honor the King and Queen in each and every one of you. As always, this has been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again. Please remember, as always, Yashdel, that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Thank you so much. And we'll try to have an announcements for Thursday tonight. If you don't hear it tonight for some reason, if you're not with us, Thursday Rise in Prayer, we'll try to make sure that it can be announced there as well. Okay? Thank you all. Appreciate you. Talk to you in a bit. Shalom.